fights, but he's gonna have to give it up.
Shun gonna try and chase him down, throws a rock into his back. The TP comes in by Knight, who just finished his rocket belt. And on goes in. Hona's locked up. Abscom down. Dudley flashes the wall. The arrow goes wide. The BLG get everything they want. They force the enemy jungler away, and they can turn their attentions to the grubs.
T1 decision right now. Do they just let Faker farm turret play?
Oh, it's Guma! It's at the Baron pit! I know it's the grubs right now, but he always manages.
They just let Faker farm turret play?
Lol.
Plays both in bot and mid, so collecting a bit of standing gold that's hovering around the map right now. Little the BLG can really do to contest. Instead, they're committing towards the top side, trying to secure this top tower, and they will secure themselves that second plate as well.
Right, on Guma trying to get away from this carrier coming in as well with the Winter's Bite. Shun's on the chase with that Ishtal's impact, but locked up with the Glacial Pressure will be slowed. And Carrier protects his AD carry.
Look at the confidence that Knight is playing with right now. Every time he sees someone on his screen, he's going in for a play. And I love the fact that BLG, they spot out Ona in the river, isolated, and immediately all collapse onto him. They tried to stagger that CC as well to keep him locked down as long as possible. Zeus should be fine.
Okay, he's going up towards Mega as well. He can trade in. TP coming in. T1 have the advantage. The Gnar into the wall. Ona has no flash and only 200 HP to work with. Now that's nothing. Sent back to the fountain. Fate sealed out. T1 find their first 2 kills of the finals.
What a play! Zeus strikes here. Wait, Shun is trying to hold off until Knight arrives to defend this tower. So gonna be some turret play money as well as the kills here for T1.
I mean, just great awareness from Zeus, recognizing that in the face of the bot lane, he was actually stronger. He knew that he had the Mega Gnar on its way. He knew that the TP was available from Faker, and they set up for a very nice collapse.
Recognizing they had the TP advantage as well, because BLG used 2 TPs to fight over those second grubs.
Very good use there of the extra cooldowns, and recognizing that they're going to need some money to be able to fight in these fights that are upcoming, because the early item completions had already started to come in for BLG. So stops the double recalls here, and then they make the call, teleport in, I've got Mega Gnar, perfect timing, flashes for it against the wall. Beautifully done.
And I mean, even without the TP, he likely could have just gotten on by himself. He gets the summoners out from Elk as well. And those are going to be crucial as we set up for the second Dragon all the game. T1 should feel a lot more confident about being ready to fight the objective.
As you're seeing on the mini-map, though,
extra gold going back there.
¿Será que me banean por hacer esta vaina? No creo, o sí. ¿Verdad? Esa cala estuvo buena. Ahí se durmió un poco PLG en el tema del contra el millonar. Sería chévere que Beto vea esto, porque apenas jugar Gnar, Betín. Mira que Gnar se hizo primera Trinidad, weón. Siento que es un poco greedy lo que ha hecho Gnar, pero bueno, es Zeus. Eso yo puedo decir. Aún así siento que no lo he hecho.
Another thing that's kind of hard for fans to track usually is information that the teams have, because it's not necessarily shown on the scoreboard, but it is critical to the success of these fights that they have set up here. And so
ojalá Black Hawk estuviese acá, weón. Está viendo con sobre ese tema. Yo nunca he sido fan de ese play. Yo nunca he sido fan de regalar un dragón por un heraldo. Pero en ese caso es un dragón de quinta, así que es entendible. Yo no sacrifico, yo prefiero llevarme el dragón a llevar los heraldos. Oh. Toma el uno. Mierda.
A triple kill for the AD carry of BLG, a nice arrow to set up the whole play. T1 saw an angle to secure that mid tower and immediately get punished.
And BLG are so quick with it. Elk's arrow snipes him right out of the air after the 2 kills with the Herald. Immediately turn it into gold. Liquid gold here for BLG. They shoot ahead on the map.
So many structures
hours out of it as well. Yes, so much gold goes into their pockets. 4.5k the lead now for BLG.
And it's a situation where the cross map, right? You see Knight on the top side of the map, but the arrow comes through.
Puta, esa flecha le cayó.
Is jumping past. Nice sidestep from On. He connects the stun, and then a beautiful multi-man ulti comes through from On with the follow-up.
¿Cuál es DRL? Ah, quería, no, quería. Ah, F.
Connects the stun, and then a beautiful Aziz is jumping past. Nice sidestep from On. He connects the stun, and then a beautiful multi-man ulti comes through from
Giving T1 a moment to regroup at all. Faker now even under attack, he's slowed in the pit.
TP's coming behind him as they look to try and turn this play around. Bin trying to get the damage down onto Faker here. Hit him with the harpoons. Faker dodges away with the Q3 and manages to live through the Leandries. T1 finds some semblance of hope in the bottom side, but BLG.
¡Oh, le cayó la flecha!
On top. Owner locked up with a glacial prison, and he's sent packing. BLG are ripping this map to shreds.
It is often a play that Faker, teams have tried to collapse on him on a side lane, and it's resulted in their demise. They're doomed. The overchase of that star mid laner, but BLG don't care. They're keeping pressure on the top side. T1 members collapsed on the bot, but it costs them greatly as they lose 2 towers top.
And we're only 18 minutes into the game, and BLG have already opened the doorway into the T1 base.
Esto fue muy raro.
They do lose a tier 2 in the bottom side, but BLG are in the
Creo que podían haber sido inhibidor, pero no sé, siento que sí podían haber sido inhibidor.
Some way back into this, because now their inhibitors open in the top side. They do have these hex gates to work with. 2 minutes on the next straight. Bamming up in a minute 50. We've seen T1 sneak them in the past to get back into games.
And we said it in the draft. When we saw this BLG composition, it really is a comfort pick and play style for BLG. You look at the champion, and it's into the side lane, and it's resulted in their
Leandries. T1 find some semblance of hope in the bottom side, but BLG are not stopping their advance on top. Owner locked up with a to shreds.
It is often on the other side of the map is BLG.
Exactly, you can see the counterattack from BLG on the minimap. They immediately beeline straight for that tower.
Oh, we didn't see
the
that.
cross-map arrow actually hit!
That's insane.
Elk the sniper again!
We weren't looking at the arrow. That was our job. Oh my god, beautiful arrow, and then the claps come through from BLG.
That is just beautiful. Even though Bin went down, they saw the last bit of vision of Faker, of the recall spot.
He used the hawk shot to spot it out. Oh, the hawk shot comes in, then the arrow. That is sublime from Elk. He's 5-1 now. And it's just such a dominant performance from BLG.
El Fena está muy fuerte, weón. El Fena es Fena, puta madre.
Look at that explosion in terms of gold advantage for BLG past the 15-minute mark.
And I mean, it all stems from that level 1 play. The fact that they got that flash out on the bot side of the map. Elk and On had consistent pressure on the bot side. Knight was able to trade very effectively and hold his lane in the 1v1. Even later on in the lane, out trading Faker. And on the top side, that's where Shun was putting the pressure. That's where he was able to find that early gank. And it's just been skirmish after advantage, after pick, where BLG have just been slowly but surely dominating the map.
20.
T1 trying to set up something sneaky on the top side. BLG aware that T1 do like to do this. Carrier, just kind of a call in the alcove. And in the end, it's much ado about nothing. The Drake up in 20 seconds time. BLG pinging it. They know they can keep the stacking going. Obviously want to end the game before they get to
Goes
start.
the
If you
King
can make the soul a possibility, it puts more pressure on T1.
Yeah, BLG, they're so far ahead, they don't need
No, no, head touch.
anything over to
Igual.
T1, so all you have to do is keep one little bit of vision on the
Hey, no,
Baron,
no,
and
head
still
touch.
collect the dragon, make sure that T1 aren't able to get any sort of trade on the map, because they don't have the ability
Nerfean
to
es carne,
so
bro.
deny them everything.
It's aware of the recall and brush. Knight's going to capture this bot wave. This is going to be an uncontested dragon. BLG with a strong start to game 1. And while this game definitely isn't over, BLG have all the tools to secure the first game of this series.
Puta, Zeus aún así le saca una ventaja gigante al Le saca una ventaja un K y medio al Rumble. Bueno, es porque también, claro, se va 1-2 y el Rumble va bien, mal. ¿Al Bill le interfirieron sus Jats? Pero le quitaron sus Jats. Perdón, le banearon el Jats. A ver. ¿Cuál es? Sí, se lo banearon en Duna.
I think it can be great into the wrong bar, a very similar pickup. A lot of BLG are very much towards the
pues no será fin.
side lane threat. BLG it can be great into the wrong bar, a very similar pickup. A lot of threat around the map, but you know they're going to go back to try and true.
Banearon Jin.
Time favorite champ.
Champion. Yo, the boy time.
No se la pensaron, en Duna le banearon el Jats.
And what an amazing intro that. Just keeping tabs on the Baron as we wait for Elk.
Igual 3K no es tan grande. Bueno, sí, es un objeto. Ya es un objeto. Con 5K recién empezaría a preocuparme. Pero T1 demostró que es propenso al throw. T1 ya demostró que es propenso al throw, así que yo le cuido.
He would just throw games from time to time. We haven't seen that in years. He has been so consistent for BLG.
No se lo van a jugar. No tienen push arriba como para jugar. O sea, yo sí lo haría, man. Yo sí lo haría. Con esa visión tranquila tú puedes decir, oye, no hay carry. Pero claro, el que está abajo, pushando abajo no es el carry, el que está pushando abajo es el mid que tiene un TP. Ahora pueden forzar el objetivo. Mientras, claro, mientras el Tsu no tendría. ¿Pueden forzar el objetivo? No, yo no subí. Claro, porque es fake ya cogerlo de la línea abajo. No funciona el engage.
Diving on top of it, because if the Sejuani ult comes out, he has the cleanse, and that's really the only initiation tool, unless Faker is able to find that angle. Does the ward offering a lot of value for T1? They'll see that it's going to be started off. The pings are coming through, but can they really get access into the pit?
Well, they're definitely going to try. Betty Perry is the one to face check that mid lane bush. Shun still taking
Ahora la verdad.
the Baron. It's a Knight down.
¡No!
And Kuma is down. BLG used the Baron as a bait and immediately kill off the enemy AD carry.
Knight with an extraordinary Sejuani ultimate connecting to the AD carry.
Puta huevón, se quedaron sin carry. Y las carnes.
The beautiful positioning from him on Silas 2, coming from the mid lane. T1, they don't expect it. Now without Guma, they try and fight them.
So almost spotted as he walked towards that.
Uh-oh.
The Baron down for 2,000. Knight on the front line. Owner trying to get in.
No, ya fue, juego. Oli. Hola Mendoza. Mierda. ¡No! ¡Oh, huevón! Hola Nacho, ¿qué tal? ¿Lo va a jalar? Van a cerrar, quieren cerrar el juego. Quieren cerrar el juego. No, esta van a cerrar el juego. Quieren cerrar el juego. Tienen los grabs. Yo forzaría inhibidor sinceramente, pero no tiene minions tampoco, así que no. Eso es Drake.
The kills are going to Elk, but the plays from Knight are phenomenal. Keep track of this angle. He's staying in the fog of war. He's trying to circumvent what Gumayushi can see. He finds the good angle. He connects the ultimate onto the
Puta, esa ulti, weón.
No
le dio tampoco, pero bueno.
Sure that Owner cannot get into the pit. He sidesteps Faker's ultimate, and Knight is just, he's spectacular.
Baker's trying to get away from Knight, but the Knight wants the throne, and Baker's
F.
been pushed off it. BLG are on fine form today, and T1 just can't keep up.
The golden left hand of the LPL strikes down the GOAT in the side lane, and BLG will collect their third dragon. They might collect the entire base before we see the fourth.
Knight has had an incredible
Van a tener... No, ese es inhibidor, weón.
steamrolls
Inhibidor.
T1 here in game 1. They're looking for another inhibitor and they're looking for the game.
Kumi, Yushi, Ono, and Kerry are
La
trying
flecha.
once again from LG.
Ay. ¡Oh! Mierda.
And Kuma falls under his own Nexus towers. T1 still trying to defend. Zay is doing everything he can to keep Knight away. But BLG continue to advance. The first Nexus tower's down. Baker's back up. Trying to find something out of this game. Trying to find some defense against BLG. But the
Puta,
oncoming masses
ultió
are
el...
just too
¡Ay, ultió el Knight!
And now into the
Espérate.
wall. Baker's fate is sealed as he dives the backline and dies for it. BLG come out swinging and take game 1.
The coordination from BLG in this first game was exquisite.
Se descontroló el snowball.
It's fair to say.
Se descontroló el snowball. Demasiado se descontroló.
BLG just
Wow.
phenomenal.
All right, for the TFT players, the Team Fight Tactics Macau Open, this year's biggest TFT event, is just
¿Qué es eso?
and Chonk is already celebrating at the China Regional Finals in Wuhan. Once we wrap up the Tactician's Crown, we are heading to Macau, and we're thrilled to bring you along. With Magic and Mayhem winding down, a new set featuring Arcane is on the horizon, promising big, game-changing moments. 512 players will battle it out live, diving into this brand new set that is sure to shake things up. Get ready for more unforgettable moments.
Ah, Team Fight Tactics. Chucho, ya me decía qué carajo estaba diciendo. ¿Qué dice la gente en los comentarios? No se ven. ¿Quitaron los comentarios? No jodas. Parece que quitaron los comentarios. A ver, ¿qué dice la gente en Twitch? Midgap. Acá se pelean. Espera. Nada, parece que tenía eso. Ok, voy a... Pasa eventos Worlds 2024. Disponible ahora. No al inicio del mundial. Bueno, Alex, aprovecha para que te trajes los sats. Voy a comprar, tengo que comprar ahorita un toque. Voy a comprar ahorita un toque. Me mandaron a comprar. Voy a apagar la camarita, ¿verdad? ¡Opo! ¿Xiaomi? Dale. Al Axer, weón. ¿También te vas a traer a todo el mundial? ¿Te vas a traer a todo el mundial al Axer? La única razón por la cual puedo hacer esto es porque estoy solo en la casa. Tráense los sats.
Bailey battles Nia Jax in a WWE Women's Championship Steel Cage match.
This is incredible! This, my friends, is must see.
Tickets on sale now.
What an entree into a best of 5 grand final when you have that Summoner's Cup looking at you as you are playing. It wasn't on my bingo card that this was going to be 1, so convincing, and maybe even 2 for BLG because they started on the red side. What happened?
Well, you might notice I sound a little bit congested. You could think that was because of the amazing teaser, but as it turns out, it was because of the level of play of T1.
Oh,
Game on, they got slammed. And we can talk about the drafts a little bit later, but to me, this was mostly just about the gameplay that came through from BLG.
Yeah, and it starts at level 1, right? Like where they do have the level 1 collapse here. As you see, this gets Knight off to a really great start, puts T1 in a really difficult position, and this also could have been what potentially might have stopped a lane swap, because I did talk about how I did think T1 would look potentially for something like that.
And it's something you just always have to be aware of, whether it's Salas, whether it's Gragas, whether it's Shen, these champions that can start a dash, go over the wall, get behind you, and put that pressure on. And BLG took the lead that they had and ran with it. I mean, this was just perfectly played by Shen. Knocks Zayas out of the hop, W flash finish him off under the tower.
What's also really telling is the amount of flashes that were expended from T1 while still dying in the play. They don't flash the initial play, so BLG both got a tons of summoners, still made the play work, and then got the punish subsequently as well.
Yeah, and Elk was on his Ashe, and we love seeing that. I want to take a look at our HyperX Reflex replay, because there was one moment where he got the arrow on Faker, and we actually got the pro view to see exactly what happened. Perhaps the mastermind was masterminding too much.
Yeah, I can't wait to see this, because I actually have not seen the pro view from Faker yet. But this is where it starts, right? Because they're going to try to get the collapse onto Bin. You can see on the mini-map where BLG are pushing in on the top side. Scout is it out, and then Elk hits this arrow. Elk on this Ashe is so absolutely deadly. He's flipping through lanes.
He's all tapping! Well, not all
Yeah,
tapping. He's in the game.
He does not see it coming, and then he's dead.
He didn't
As they continue to collapse on the top side, and again, Elk being on this Ashe pick, I feel like if you want to see, sometimes people overfocus on Ashe arrows, right?
You
if
do.
you want to see good Ashe arrow usage, look no further than Elk, because he's phenomenal.
I mean, he has been absolutely incredible.
What I really want to highlight here is how well BLG reads T1. T1 is a team that loves to do this, overload a part of the map, really go aggressive on these turrets to try and gain map control, and they are so clearly not ready for this collapse. And we saw T1 stabilize a little bit after the rough early game. After this point, BLG was never in any danger.
They really weren't. I mean, there was just so many avenues of attack for BLG, and I have to shout out Knight. He played incredibly well in a matchup that is supposed to be advantageous for the Oni in the 1v1. He was dominating Faker from the word go.
Our upper player of the game was Knight in this one. We focused so much on the matchup before this, Azale, but just outplayed.
I mean, straight up, you know, he was just dominating him in the 1v1. Faker did chuck him down early, but even after the TP back, he was winning every single trade thereafter. He made Faker base with low HP, with no teleport, lost a full wave, started to fall behind in the experience. Knight really showcased his skill in this 1v1.
And his class.
Yeah,
Both.
both.
New word.
And we heard it from him in the intro, right? Like, he wants people to remember his name as the LPL mid. What a phenomenal showing from Knight in this first game. Insane Sejuani ult that he had prepped. And this is what allowed a lot of these BLG collapses was Knight's ult usage and his positioning.
Yeah, and here we see T1, they're getting back to the stage. Of course, we've seen this before. Teams don't necessarily drop more than one game if they start by losing. We hope we don't get a 3-0 for either side.
Only one can be done now. And I mean, BLG of all teams know about the first game. I do want to highlight, though, that T1 selected blue side. And I do think, again, this was not a game where you go like, this was unplayable from drop. Yeah. This was just gameplay. I do think, though, that T1 in the next game has an opportunity to set themselves up better, because we got to talk about it. When that Braum was locked in, I can guarantee you that every single T1 fan let out a collective groan, because this player on the Braum just doesn't have the same magic he does on other champions.
Absolutely, and they did have that Yone Gambit that we've seen in so many different series where, you go on red side, if you are not playing against a mid laner who is known for these melee champions, who is known for an exceptional Yone, you can say, all right, let's give it over to Faker, let's see what happens in game number 1. Now they lose with it, so that can put the pressure on T1 to have to ban Yone on blue side, which really is a disadvantage for the rest of the series, and it's something we've seen happen a number of times at Worlds.
Do you know what the people really want?
What do they want?
To hear us talk a little more. Oh, we do have a little bit more time. There's a PC swap on stage. Didn't get any booze, that's good. So they actually don't hate it. They don't hate it.
Thank you, crowd.
They don't hate it that much. So we have a couple of touching points that we can talk about as well. Maurits, because this is actually something we saw just last week as well. The exact situation with kind of Keria on the Braum, and I think when you think about Keria as a player in the context of the World's runs that T1 has done, we always said about pushing the meta forward, about making it happen. Braum just doesn't do it.
Well, and you might look at this and go, man, that's not bad. I want you to keep in mind which team this is. This is a team that has, particularly domestically, even though they haven't won, they win a whole lot.
Yep.
So this really isn't by itself already a great recommendation for that Braum, but it's when you look at the actual gameplay. Compare this to his Rakan game that we saw in quarters.
Exactly, that is the big thing to me. It's not, the point is, Carry's a bad Braum. Sometimes when a team, you compile it, okay, well, maybe you disagree. But to me, it's more about how exceptional he is on some of these playmaking champions and how he enables the rest of his team, right? And there are players like this, you were talking about Mako earlier, we were talking about Core JJ, and players who can play, enchanters can play different styles, but sometimes, they are more well-suited, for what the team needs, playing something different.
And I also think in the context of this match, specifically, we didn't really get to it, Emily, at the start of in the countdown. The expectation was that Keria has been having a much better tournament. He has been one of the pillars that T1 has built on and on. It's a meme about the on and off, but generally, right, he hasn't always been as present in kind of the expletives when you talked about BLG so far, and it was something that was going to happen. So the fact that we saw this out of Keria in game 1 specifically, we saw how cohesive BLG played with on making sure that he's with his jungler, with his mid laner, wherever he needs to be, is a good sign for the series for BLG.
Yeah, and that's why I'm really curious to see what T1 end up doing in this draft, right? Because they did target on with the Renata and Rakan coming through on 4-5 in their bans in the first game. And then the Yone test, as you already mentioned, Zale. The big thing for me for Keria, though, is that, again, I did expect T1, and the level 1 kind of ruined this, I did expect T1 to be going for some sort of swap, not want to face BLG in standard lanes necessarily, since they have been so good in the swap. And that's why I really love to see Keria unlock. Like, obviously, everyone's going to talk about his Pike games because they were so fun, but, like, if he unlocks, if he's able to affect the mid lane, for example, help Faker in that matchup to really dominate Knight in lane, that's an important part too. I like seeing Keria when he can also be unlocked from the bot lane in some early lane assignment shenanigans.
I mean, I always just think that when the meta is flexible for supports, Keria is the best player in the world. This guy can play so many different styles. He affects the map really well. He can have counter picks for 2v2. He can do so many different things. So I'm really curious if T1 has that in store.
Yeah, I think that's why we really feel that this was the tip of the iceberg, right? When it comes to this best of 5. Now, as we all know, we are here with thousands, 10,000s of you, but Worlds is a global phenomenon, and there are so many watch parties all around the world. We have Thailand, Wuhan, New York City, and many, many, many more. And that is so cool to see because sometimes I feel like we are kind of in our bubble, right? And we only see what's happening right here. But to know that all of Korea and all of China is watching as well as everywhere across the world, people care so, so much.
One of my favorite parts of these events as well is actually getting to meet the fans, right? Because League of Legends is online, so many of our broadcasts happen from our studios. It's really hard to connect them, but then you see moments like this. You see the fans both here in the arena. I went out to get a coffee with my dad early this morning. The lines were already in. This was a
Are you?
Yeah. No.
For the coffee.
Yeah. No. Are you crazy? Come on, I'm not gonna do that to myself like that. I think that particularly seeing just in person how passionate people are always gets me excited.
Yes, and we are so lucky that that we get to talk about these matches as well, and of course the hope that we have a T1 striking back here so we get at least 4 games. Give me one key word that we need to see from T1 as I toss it to the casters, Maurits, that you need to see for them to bring it back in game 2.
Agency. Keria needs to be on something where he can have more impact.
Keria, you need to have more impact. Do you agree with that, Medic?
I think Carrier, one of the best supports in the world, if not the best support in the world on his day, but he needs something he can influence the map on. He needs something he can be out and about on. The Braum, for me, is just not it.
Personally, I think that BLG's draft approach was just so smart because as much as I think Gumayushi is an incredible player, I do think that his pool at this World Championship has been a little predictable. And I think that what happened is that by putting them on the Yone and then not looking either an AP jungle or an AP bot laner, it kind of limited the options that T1 actually had on the bot side of the map. Now, do I think that they lost because of the draft? No, I mean, I think BLG really just outplayed them in the early game. But I think what T1 is good at, or at least what they've showed at this World Championship, is their ability to come back into games, whether it be through clever Barons or fantastic picks. This comp didn't really give them any options to do that. So I want to see them have those options available to them and showcase the playmaking power that this roster does have.
Yeah, I think the big issue here for T1 is not only did they get outplayed in game number 1 on the map, but also it's going to be even more difficult now, I feel like, for them to draft versus BLG, with BLG already calling the Yone shot and then hitting that shot out of the park.
Get on into this Champions Select powered by Omen and HyperX. Again, we see the Jackson there. The blue side Yone ban from T1.
Yep, that's exactly what we're talking about. The knock-on effects of that game number 1.
And the Skarner response as well, not wanting to hand that one over. This means that we're going to see Shun on something different. We've been seeing a lot of Skarner from him recently.
Everyone keeps giving it to him.
I mean, it's true, and I mean, he's going to ban it on his side. So let's see what direction they now go in. T1, what are you going to look to remove? Is Knight Silas something that you don't want to have to deal with? Or perhaps something like the Callista, once again, is something that you think is worthy taking off the board?
Yeah, bottom lane has been terrifying, and yet Knight Silas was insane. Maybe they would even consider first picking and stealing it away.
Perhaps. Now the Ashe and Callista are both available. This is an important choice for BLGG. Ban away the Ashe and then give over the Callista, which is partially why we see the Varus ban. There's a solid answer into the Callista. They're going to take away the Vi instead, so all AD carries are available. The Callista going to be the lock-in. Bear in mind, BLG could just go for the Ashe themselves.
Ashe is a really good response into the Callista, always an annoying one, so that's one that T1 will also be expecting, though, coming into this. Now, will they immediately pair it, with like a Renata or something like that, or are they going to try and grab their jungle first?
Well, the Ashe is the obvious lock-in for BLG, isn't it? What are they going to pair alongside it is the question. We will see if they decide to go towards their jungle, or whether you are looking at something like the Renata to make sure that T1 can't have the Callista Renata bottom side.
It's a possibility. I think, well, in my head I was thinking maybe the Rumble is also a strong possibility for Bin. We've seen it prioritized heavily. It looks like that's the direction that they're going to go in. So he's going to continue with this power pick on the top side of the map. He's found a lot of success with it over the last year. We saw it introduced last year, but now that means the Renata is available for carrier. We often see him play towards the AD carry that Gumayushi has locked in, and you talked about it in the previous game, carrier loves to roam mid, Kobe. On this champion, he especially loves to roam mid.
And so there we go. They are stealing away the Silas. Take it, get it in the hands of Faker. Knight, what do you have?
I mean, always look towards the Ari.
Yeah, or Galio. Okay, so if they do Galio,
it's a Kindred game potentially.
Exactly. Are we in for a should Kindred? Because you're like, oh, he just keeps getting Skarner. Well, some signature picks, possibilities. Those are very far down the line.
I mean, you also have the ban phase to go through where T1 could say, well, it looks like a Kindred came to us, so we might just take that away.
It just makes kind of sense here because they have double AP with Galio and Rumble, and when you're playing Kindred, you always want some setup with a mid laner like Galio. So maybe T1 will ban it away.
I don't want
Maybe not. He could still just play like Xin Zhao or something.
I don't want to overcook, but there's always the world where the Rumble goes bot lane and then there's still a counter pick top for Bin. For now, we'll assume that it's on the top side of the map, given that we're seeing these top lane bans come through. The Gnar going to be taken away, and there's the Kindred. So it seems that T1 had the same read that we did. I wonder if, I'd actually be very surprised if they go for something like the Nidalee. But let's see what direction that BLG now go, because they're going to need a little bit more damage to come through from the jungle. They do, of course, have Elk and Bin on these high damage threats, but the Sejuani taken away. The pool in the jungle is getting much narrower.
Could always go towards the Xin Zhao, as you said, Kobe. That's a possibility. See if T1 decide to ban that away. Alongside that, you have the fringe picks like the Graves, even the Poppy a possibility as well.
I mean, Poppy into Silas and Callista, both pretty good things to shut down here. couple of options to hide.
Yeah, I think the beautiful thing about the Poppy is you could flex it as well, but Jun, taking his time, thinking about what jungle direction he wants to go, and it's going to be locked in for the Xin Zhao. So I think Galio plus Xin is a great combo. You have a utility in the mid lane provided by the carry threat that the Xin Zhao provides, and an easy engage tool to follow up on any Ash arrow that connects.
Zin's ultimate is just so good for those team fights as well. They have a lot of synergy here that they could combine. Now on the side of T1 though, the pairing with the Callista, we do get the Ornn lock in first.
Okay, T1 is responding with some team fighting of their own.
It's also very long range. Ornn ultimates Nocturne global here as well, semi-global himself, trying to combat some of the global power of the Galio. We have lots of long range stuff.
There's always the threat of the Silas ulti steals as well, but you have left Ornn's Rakan open quietly in the back line. That support pick wasn't locked in, and when we think about Ornn's career all time, this is his best champ.
It's his most played, it has a 73% win rate. He's battling against Guma, though, with 30 games on Renata, he has an 83% win rate. So the support battle in this game is incredibly exciting. We've already seen the two team competitions being routed out as well. What do we think, guys?
I just think the Rakan is such a good delivery for the Galio as well.
And I just think it's hilarious that here in the World Finals, these players have high win rates. A lot of champions, right? They tend to win a lot, and it's fantastic to see. Game 1, BLG just came out swinging. A phenomenal performance from them straight from the level 1. T1, you have to imagine they've adapted. Their draft is very different. Their bot side of the map is a lot more confident, faking out on an AP damage threat, and it's going to have a lot of agency with the Silas to steal away Ash Arrow, Galio ultimate, along with the Rumble red carpet. It's going to be an interesting matchup for sure.
That it is, and it's going to be the 50th World's Finals game ever. Here in the O2 Arena, we've been blessed to be able to watch a best of 5 between these two teams. I think a lot of people in the audience, even if they're not T1 fans, are hoping that T1 can fight back and take us all the way to 5 games. But BLG in Game 1 came out and clobbered the LCK number 4 seed.
And BLG this year for them has just been so strong, adding Knight to the lineup. First in spring, second at MSI, first in summer in the LPL, and here in finals, up 1 game already on T1.
BLG as well, it was a team that was, when it was originally built, wasn't expected to have this sort of success. Went all the way back, BLG did buy super teams. They were looking for this incredible roster of 5 superstars, but the addition of Bin, Elk, On, Shun, they were looking at a team that would grow into a super team, and that's exactly what they've done, as you say, with the addition of Knight this year.
Bro, they have onto the biggest stage with the entire world watching. They get the
double knock-up already, carrying us down to half HP. He's gonna have the flash. Gumayushi cleanses away from Knight. The chase continues. BLG flashing forward. The heal coming out. Gumayushi now slowed by the Ash, and you can't escape the quiver of Elk. First blood again to BLG.
Are you kidding me? Another one, level 1, first blood for Elk.
In the exact same spot as Game 1, Gumayushi will lose his life. Summoners blown. And T1, they were just trying to get some vision, get a bit of early information, maybe even drop a ward into BLG's bot side jungle. But the collapse from On and Elk, the chase down of the Ash, means that BLG draw first blood.
Elk flashes forward so he can get the slows onto Guma, and it's enough. They get both his summoner spells. I mean, a lot of summoner spells were also used offensively by BLG, but it is still going to be the lane swap after the first blood here. T1 will go topside.
Gumayushi and Kerry are trying to get away from the power of Elk and On. Obviously, Ornn good in lane swaps as well, can absorb a lot of pressure, pretty tanky. He's going to get knocked up here, though, and Zeus might have to burn the flash to get away. Elk with the slows, just going to chip him down to about 190 HP.
Zeus couldn't get the timing there. He's trying to get in range for experience on those minions. Takes a lot of damage for it, and now we have Bin going mid to soak experience and to do a lot of damage.
Baker taunted up, the electro harpoons go into him, but he's able to hold on to the flash for now. Will catch this wave, crashes towards his tower.
Bin making a beeline towards the bot lane. I mean, I really think they need to set up for a dive onto Zeus. He actually hasn't gone back to base. He's at about 50% HP. You'll notice Shun still on the top side of the map, pathing towards his bot side. Typically, you'd see this split map situation, but both junglers have had access to their side of the map.
And actually, because Carrier cancels his recall there, they might make the call to go for the extra pressure on Bin, who teleported in, but it doesn't look like it. Level 2, he acquires it. Meanwhile, Zeus.
Puta, lane swap, weón, ¿otra vez?
It's about 1 minion away from level 2.
Ah, pero contra un Rumble. ¿Eso no es? Nah, terrible,
Ends up being a 1-for-1 trade, but I think BLG's happy with this. Look at all the farm that's being lost. Zeus needs to TP back in quickly to soak up as much XP as he can. The good news is the threat of a redive isn't possible for BLG.
Meanwhile, on the opposite side, Bin had a smart ward earlier over that wall to see when owner would come to pressure him.
Give los Vans, give los Vans.
Bin stuck around just...
Porque yo cuando llegué todavía estaban en fase de Vans, ¿verdad?
Some of the global power of the Galio. We have lots of long range stuff.
There's always the threat of the Silas ulti steals as well, but you have left on Rakan unopened and quietly in the back.
Nocturne. Banearon Jats otra vez. Yone. Banearon se Juan Ignar. Ok. Banearon a Skarner también. Banearon a Skarner en favor de un hinchado. Ok, supongo que LG sabrá algo que yo no sé. Ah, se quedaron sin daño, weón. Nah, NT.
And the chase down.
Guma as well in that skirmish recognizes on, tries to get the last auto attack, takes a quick sidestep backwards to avoid that last auto. Beautifully played by him. And T1 find themselves with the kill lead here in game 2. This is what we wanted to see. Not going down without a fight. Gumiyushi not able to secure those early kills, but Faker and Ona in the prime position.
But it's also why we talked so heavily about this Renata as a possibility for carrier. You can see not only the handshake, but also the bailout doing so much work when you have the map split like this. Alongside that, the hostile takeover just stops any team from really being able to dive you as the game goes on. Carrier is absolutely sublime on this pit.
Now we've got 35 seconds until the grubs spawn. You'll notice that Elk has chosen to reset, making his way back out towards mid, where On is already there. There is an experience advantage in favor of the T1 support, but Elk already taken over.
Son 13 minions. Son 13 minions. Ojito, son 13 minions. Rumble sacando muy atrás.
Do you really want to try and fight a Xin Zhao this early on over the grubs? But T1 do have a lot of pressure on the top side of the map.
Yeah, you can see Knight moving up the river now already on the Galio, transitioning over to the objective. Shun has the brush. W will hit there onto Carrier though for the poke.
Very close level 6 for both Knight and Faker. Those are going to be crucial levels for the upcoming fight. Tick now for Knight and Elk as well.
Yep, soaks it in mid lane here. This could be dangerous for T1.
EOG going to start up the grubs. Shun on them. On still only level 3. Has the flash. Has the heal. They'll get one with the smite. Handshake pulls On back, but he can dance out with that W, and he'll manage to get to the relative safety of this top lane tri-push. T1 will find 2 grubs for their own as they force BLG.
Bueno, pero está bien. Ya Honor se dio cuenta que el anterior no se posicionó feo por usarse los grubs. Ah, se lo quitó con el smite. Se lo robó con el smite, no me di cuenta.
Knight hovering around the top side jungle, ready to leap in at a moment's notice. No TP available for Bin. Bear in mind, he's still only level 4. Pete denied a lot of experience. With Zeus having the ultimate available, the threat of a dive is a real possibility. Faker keeping his pressure up in mid lane, about to take over to level 7.
T1 will be able to get the first plate of this push. They're second in the top lane. Bin is catching the wave in mid, not yet level 6.
Yeah, I think it's a good defense there from BLG. They make the call, they sacrifice bottom lane, it's okay. Bin rotate over towards mid, catch that wave, so he can safely get some experience while the rest of BLG trying to defend on the top tower. The big wave on bottom side is going to crash on bot soon, though. Bin has to go.
Yeah, Bin has to go, but that leaves room for Faker to roam up top. Now they can guarantee numbers advantage, and they can set their sights on the tower.
Bin shows now. Do T1 pull the trigger? Do they go for the fight? Zeus was trying to hold the wave. They couldn't quite do it because BLG had enough numbers to force him away. The equalizer.
¿Qué carajo fue ese ecualizador? ¿Qué carajo fue ese ecualizador? ¡No! ¿O fue de Faker? Ah, no, fue de Faker. Puta, se canceló la ulti de Galio. La ulti de Galio se le canceló a Knight.
T1 is sticking around, the TP will come through.
Shun already down. Bin walks into a scarred battlefield. He'll still take out Gumayushi. In the end, T1 unable to get that extra plate, but they do find kills in the top side.
I do feel that this
Está bueno eso. Man, qué pesados los mosquitos, ya me los papié. ¿Hay mosquitos? Ah, estamos en verano, ¿verdad?
With his ulti, but he gets a flash away, and nice spell shield. Nice arrow connects onto Zeus, meaning he can't follow up with his ulti, but he gets a flash away, and nice spell shield from Ona. The two-man knock-up from Zeus was crucial, but he gets a flash away, and nice spell shield from Ona. The two-man knock-up from Zeus was crucial.
Le cancelaron la ulti al Galio, weón. Le cancelaron la ulti del Galio.
That people find themselves at, because right now I feel like T1
Ya, este juego creo igualmente. Este juego. A menos que T1 se descontrole, este ya es juego creo para T1.
So BLG have done a good job being able to close that experience gap. But in terms of the goal, you can see big advantage on the side of T1.
Tú sabes que la web estaba jodida cuando es minuto 10 y no tienen 100 minions. Ninguno tiene 100 minions y ya estamos en minuto 10. Mira el Rumble, weón. 55 farm. El Ornest tiene 48 minions. Así de cagado está el juego.
And it should be T1 collecting the next pack of grubs. BLG, they know they don't want to fight that, so they're trying to pick up Dragon right now. Shun working away on it. See if Knight, how quickly Knight can push this bottom wave though for the Galio. His teleporter is ready.
No es mal trade, es un dragón infernal, ojo. Yo insisto, yo prefiero un dragón infernal o de una montaña a un grab o un heraldo. Oh, no tiene 6. Oh, no tiene level 6. ¿Cuánto le falta para level 6? Es un problema.
With the Ornn plus Nocturne, you have a lot of long-range pick potential. And now top lane again, the arrow.
It's up to Guma once again. He does have the cleanse, but he holds onto it for now.
Greens, okay.
Just as Bin was about to start to burn him. T1 get another plate on the top side 3 minutes before those fall off, and they're investing a lot of time in making sure this top lane goes low.
Right now, T1 is playing a very heavy 4-1 style, but they're forcing BLG to respond to the top side of the map. They keep dragging BLG up here, and every time they do, BLG is losing a little bit more on the map. Ona secures level 8, gets another plate in the mid lane, and T1
¿Por qué no lo formea?
alleviate that pressure.
Okay, no sé.
Positioning of carrier is something he often does on this
Nice,
round.
sabe algo que yo no.
In your face, he is not afraid. He knows he has the mechanics to be able to outplay you, and it creates this space that allows an easy objective secure for T1.
Ah, lo guardó para el Rumble. Ah, aquí agarramos el farmeo, ok.
He just handshakes you out of your jump, and you can never really find the engage. So you have to find flanks. Obviously, BLG weren't looking for a fight in the top side. T1 take the first tower, have a 3,000 gold lead now, and are well in control of this matchup.
Now it's going to calm down a little bit. BLG
no.
resets at the moment. The outer tower on top side being down could be problematic. T1 get the early push there and then transition over towards that mid lane. Currently though, they actually send Guma and Carrier back down.
Me da risa como Rito cada vez trata de balancear más el tema del lane swap, pero los equipos le vale un carajo a eso y siguen haciendo lane swap. Oh. What? ¿Ese juego tiene un knockout? Oh, no sabía. No sabía que tiene un knockback la Keria. Pero claro, ahí está el problema del on no tener el safe. No tiene ulti la Keria y el on y es el le está chocando. No tiene el 6. Es un problema. El otro ya le saca 2 niveles, pero ese sí está cagado. Aunque pasa que también lo he hecho en favor de la Ashe. La Ashe le saca un nivel a como Yuzi. Insisto, no sé por qué la gente quiere, no sé por qué la gente gusta tanto jugar sin Chao. A mí no me gusta ese pick. Yo lo siento, yo el pick de sin Chao lo siento medio inútil. Casi todos los equipos que he visto sin Chao en todo les ha ido el culo. Y en la partida anterior el pick de Sejuani fue muy raro también. No sé por qué sacaron Sejuani. Al final no le dejaron jugar a Oner tampoco. Y si un equipo full AD, no, está medio complicado un equipo full AD. Porque no tenía Rumble, pero tenían Narco, Nartop, con Sejuani y Yone. No había Majo, no había mucho que hacer.
T1 have just had Cryo in basically every single lane. 9 plates to 3 in this game. Ona did start up the Rift Herald. Her patience is going to run out and she'll scuttle her way back towards the pit for now.
And in payment for that, Zeus is able to again push another top wave.
You can see in the MasterCard lane economy snapshot just how different it looks from Game 1. In Game 1, it was only Gumayushi who I think had a 40 gold lead, the only speck of blue on there. Now is T1 across the board, having leads apart from Bit in that top.
A la miércoles. Y eso que como a Yuzi le hicieron primera sangre al inicio. Claro, un Galio nunca le haga.
Going to fall in that bot lane for now.
Those side lane trades are so interesting because Knight's trying to make the trade as quick as possible, get used out of the aftershock.
Oh, on. Just pulled back with a handshake. He's going to have to grand entrance his way to a grand exit. Manages to escape for now. For a second I thought he might fall. Faker dashing back in, lands the abduct as well. The taunt will connect onto him and slow his advance in that bot side, but with Wave pushed in, he now has the opportunity to back into Fog of War and then TP into the fight. T1 still looking for a bit of a battle around this Rift Herald. The question is, will BLG acquiesce to their request to take a fight towards this top side?
And it looks like they're going to go for the recall first there for Knight because of the extended trade that Faker was able to get on him. Knight goes back to base, full heal, teleport out.
I mean, the important thing here is Faker didn't reset before TPing in, so he's at half HP. Does have the quickness stolen away. The Scuttle Grab will go across, on goes in with the quickness, knockback with the Crescent Guard as well. Call to the Forge God coming down as the die comes in. The hostile takeover just possesses BLG. It's 2 already, the hero's entrance. A swift exit back to the fountain for Knight as T1 clean up the fight.
It's just a bloody brilliant
O sea, estuvo bueno, pero
just as BLG find that nice knockup, Jun goes in, actually knocks Faker over the wall, but then the wombo combo comes back in, and T1 find the fight that they've been looking for.
Oh, that was so juicy with the Ornn and Renata there. Locked them up. T1.
¿Qué le pasó a Galio que no metió ulti? Ya van dos. Ya van dos.
Is it originally going on to Keria and Faker, locking them up, but Zeus gets an Ornn ultimate into the double knockup, into the Renata ultimate over. Gets an Ornn ultimate into the double and Faker locking them up, but Zeus gets an Ornn ultimate into.
Llamen a Beto para que los cargue.
Into the Renata ultimate. Zeus gets an Ornn ultimate into the double knockup, into the Renata ultimate over it. Faker coming back over the wall from the blue buff, and T1 are able to chase them out.
Insisto, Sin Chao es un pick que no sirve. Insisto, Sin Chao es un pick que no sirve. No sé cuál es la manía de estos jugadores de seguir sacando Sin Chao. En todos los partidos que he visto Sin Chao, en todos les ha ido del culo. En todos, bueno, sin excepción. No sé cuál es la manía de estos jugadores de sacar Sin Chao. Ya sea de cualquier equipo. Yo he visto Sin Chao y ¿por qué sacan Sin Chao? No, y ahí claro, es que el Galio entró, pero no pudo. Ese es el problema del ulti de Galio. El problema del ulti de Galio es que tú no la puedes tirar al aire. Por eso nunca me gustó Galio. Por eso nunca me gustó Galio. Es jugable, sí, pero... Es jugable Galio. Una muy buena ulti de Galio te puede cambiar la partida. Pero nunca me... Por eso nunca me gustó Galio. Porque el ulti de Galio solamente sirve cuando se le tiras a un compañero. Si no se le tiras a un compañero, tu ulti no sirve, básicamente. Galio no puede iniciar. Claro, el Rekkless intentó iniciar, pero inició el support, que se lo tragó el Gumayusi. Y el Faker, que literalmente solamente dasheó hacia atrás. Entonces, el Rakan quedó payadazo. El Rakan quedó payaso porque cuando él forzó la pelea, Gumayusi se tragó a la Renata. Se tragó a la Renata y Faker solamente metió un dash al costado. El problema de la composición de BLG, y esto ya creo que es victoria para Team One, es una composición para Teamfight. Pero no sé, yo siento que el... está muerto bien. Está muertísimo. Nada más. Dios, sin chao. Entonces, ¿qué decir? No quedó la torre. No se quedó la torre. La vaina de BLG es que su compo no me gusta Sin Chao. No me gusta Sin Chao. Y tampoco me gusta que el daño mágico esté concentrado solamente en un Rumble. Porque Rumble metió ulti y se quedó parado. No me gusta lo que han hecho. No sé, no le veo la lógica. No le veo la lógica a un Sin Chao con Galio. Porque Sin Chao no te fuerza, que te fuerza el Rakan. Y si el Rakan no... El Rakan también ahí... ¿Van a forzar? No, no van a forzar. No. Sí. Era solamente para asustar nomás. Este día es juego, creo. Porque es dragón de montaña y dragón de fuego. Y ya ¿qué es dragón oceánico? Dragón oceánico. No pueden seguir extendiendo. Gumayusi tiene 2 extensiones, hizo una calista. O sea, agarrarlo va a ser complicado. Insisto, no me gusta sin Chao de pick. Nocturno es más viable porque Nocturno por lo menos se puede forzar. Y la combo de Team One es una combo más saludable. Tienes un tanque, un asesino de la jungla, un mago mid. Bueno, un mago sin split. Un mago que no puede ser push, que no tiene mucho CC, pero es un Norn, tienes un Norn. Ya con eso con eso lo compensa. De hecho, la ulti de Carry es perfecto para un disengage. Porque si el Galio y entra con el Sin Chao, la Renata solamente mete ulti y chao todos, básicamente. Entonces, la Calista es un buen pick también porque si le fuerzan a la Renata se va. Esto es algo que se vio en la teamfight anterior y por eso perdieron, porque querían forzar a la Renata con Faker, pero la Renata se la tragó el Gumayusi y se fue todo al carajo. No, pues ya. Tengo fe. No, esto ya es de Team One. Mira, a menos que Team One se mande un super throw. Este es juego para Team One. BLG creo que se la jugó mucho con esa composición. O sea, se la confió de que Sin Chao iba a hacer un snowball. Pero Sin Chao no es un champ que te responde un snowball. No es un champ que te puede responder un snowball. No, esos son champs que no te responden snowballs. Le snowballean a un Sin Chao con Rumble o Galio. Ya no hay nada que hacer. O sea, si no puedes, si te hace el snowball, yo digo creo, porque en un juego profesional cuando te hacen el snowball ya no hay nada que hacer definitivamente. La mejor respuesta es una composición de teamfight y una compo de CC. Una compo de CC con teamfight. Entonces, T1 en parte T1 no tiene una composición que yo sepa que yo entiendo que no responde a un snowball, pero la EBLG definitivamente no puede responder a los snowball. No puede responder a los snowball porque el Sin Chao, si se queda muy atrás, lo explotan rápidamente, porque el chiste de Sin Chao es borrar a la gente. Sin Chao está yendo full daño. ¿Lo te digo? No tienen cómo responder a un snowball.
support team.
Insisto, la ulti de Galio no me gusta. La ulti de Galio no me gusta. Por esa razón no me gusta. Nunca me gustó Galio. Por esa razón nunca me gustó Galio. Nunca me gustó que la ulti de Galio requiera que un compañero esté ahí. Pero en parte es entendible que la ulti de Galio te pone shit. Yo juego en Mobile Legends, yo juego un héroe que se llama Gatotkaka, que tiene la ulti de Galio. Es literalmente la ulti de Galio, pero la diferencia es que la ulti de Gatotkaka tú lo puedes tirar al aire. La puedes tirar para forzar una pelea. A mí sí me gusta. Por esa razón nunca me gustó Galio. Porque la ulti requiere a un compañero para tirarla. Prefiero 1000 veces a Gatotkaka de Mobile Legends porque la ulti de Gatotkaka es es global, no es global, pero tú lo puedes tirar en cualquier lado. Es decir, Gatotkaka, que es un support, puedes forzar una pelea. Puedes forzar una pelea con Gatotkaka. No es como Galio, que Galio no puede forzar una pelea. ¿Quién entra en la casa? Papá, ¿me ha salido? Con su capacitación. ¿Ah? ¿Me dijo qué?
Faker does have the global aggro debuff that we all know to have. BLG not faded in all. Faker here.
In trading with Tails. Quickness coming out as they look to be engaged. They find Faker. Somehow the flash paranoia comes out. The pressing guard will keep Faker alive for the moment. And Carrier has a flat position of its own. Oda has the bailout on his shoulders. And Shun is already down. TP now invested from Bin or from Knight as they look to rejoin the fight. Elk goes down on follow suit. And T1. Faker. They keep him alive. Faker flashes. And not can't find him. T1 find 4. Only Bin.
Many have tried before, but Faker.
Puedo repetir, ¿no?
His team is quick to react, and
Thank you,
just
Beto.
like that, 4 members down. T1 will secure the Baron.
BLG knew we are falling behind. We have to make an attempt at a pick ourselves. They try and go at Faker, but T1 pounce in response.
It's just the one player that is so hard to catch.
Este ya es su render, man. Este ya es su render.
Team is so quick to respond. Look, Owner is there starting off the round with an immediate ultimate into the backline. He steals away the Sinjao ultimate to create a bit of space, but he dives into the fight. Knowing the carry is on the way, the heal comes through from Gumeyushi, and then the turnaround and Faker.
Este ya es su render. Sí, forzaron una pelea y pensaron que eran solamente 3. Galio forzó una pelea y nada que se le quedó. NT.
Alright, back to live. You can already see the ramifications of that play.
Then T1 turned the play around.
Se la jugó rápido, se la jugó todo BLG en esa jugada.
Faker crushed into the backline. He steals away. Look, Owner is there starting off the round with him. Immediate ultimate into the backline. He steals away the Sinjao ultimate to create a bit of space, but he dives into the fight. Knowing the carry is on the way, the heal comes through.
Bueno, no hagas nada.
This game, Gumeyushi has a masterworked blade of the Ruin King alongside Terminus and a Ginsu's. Elk still about half an item behind T1. Continue to pile the pressure on. On looks for Owner, can't find him. BLG just trying to find some semblance of an engage, trying to find some way to break through the armor of T1 right now, and perhaps it's Faker that they want, but he dives back in onto Shun. Half HP now on the Xinjiao, and T1 just chipping away. That's all they have to do. They have the Baron buff for another minute's time.
Again, Baron buff and 6 grubs just solve so many siege problems. Arrow gonna get juiced.
Flash was lost out of the carrier, but the damage is still being done. BLG's picked.
There they go. Quickness, paranoia coming out. The quickness goes in. Gumeyushi locked up here. As just going in as well as Knight looks for the back line. But already he needs to look at his own team because they are being ripped to shreds by T1. It was a valiant effort, but BLG find nothing.
T1 will strike back in game number 2 to even it up here in London.
Try as you might, T1. I'm on home turf. And we're going to a best of 3.
Lethal efficiency from T1 as they change up the draft. And even though they concede first blood, they're able to bounce back with some incredible team fights.
Both teams have been so good at snowballing there. It's so good when they get ahead.
Really have. It's been a seesaw so
Eso no
far.
toca.
PLG had game one. T1 showed up very solidly in game two. The question is, will that seesaw continue to swing the way it has, or will we see BLG maybe go to the blue side for the first time here in the World's Finals?
Everybody's been looking at Yone as this pick all tournament long, but really, Silas may be stealing the show.
It certainly may very well be. Now, you can dominate the Rift with Opera GX and have a chance to secure a Masterwork chest and key to Celebrate Finals. Get your official league mods for your browser, access a dedicated Riot Corner for tournament news, and enjoy a brand new co-streaming hub. We'll be back after this.
Dominate the Rift with Opera GX. Install any official LoL esports mod from GX Store to unlock bonus content and features. Browse the collection and choose a mod. Open GX Corner and scroll to the Riot section with a brand new co-streaming hub. Set your language and choose a stream. Only on the browser for gamers. Only on Opera GX.
Crushed by your own gravity.
I'll be your monster.
marks here for Shun. Again, the 4th mark is where you get your nice range increase and you're fully operational. That's your big goal. And the Kindred here off to a very good start in this Kindred-centric comp. But there it is again.
I love the flash rocket punch because it really negates the ability for Faker to flash away. If you flash outside of the auto range, it's still going to connect, you still get knocked up, and then the grab comes out afterwards anyway.
Yeah, there was very little that Faker could do. He burnt everything to just try and push the wave out. And so I guess the good news as well is that BLG didn't have a wave to actually push the mid tower. So they were able to get a single grub, which is definitely still an advantage because it means that on the next grub spawn, you can still look to try and contest, maybe even get 3 grubs for yourself, bringing you up to potentially 4. In any case, we turn our attention towards the Dragon as the next major objective. 80 carries have moved towards the mid lane. You can see that Knight once again finds push on the bot side of the map, and it is going to be BLG to start this objective off.
Yeah, should be them finishing it off as well. I think it would be ridiculous for T1 to try and go contest that, so they just teleport up to the top side. Zayas will collect the minion wave there. No reason to throw anything else into this BLG fire that is growing in the early game.
So your sights on top lane as well. I thought Carrier was actually looking for a roam up towards top, but good vision coverage from T1 on that side of the map. It would be a situation where Bin is at risk of getting dived, but with the wave situated as it is, he's chosen to back off, going back to base, and knowing that he is prone for a dive. And I wonder if he's going to path back up towards mid, or if he sets his sights back on top lane. It looks like top lane is his plan.
And I want to see BLG continue with these aggressive looks. Because they are running the Galio here for Knight, it really enables the aggressive positioning from either Shun or on here, constantly looking for plays on T1 members in rotations, between those lanes swapping over. So let's see if they can actually make use of it. Currently keeping on an Elk through mid lane here, trying to deny this cannon. And it does go down there. Nicely done.
Ultimately, though, it's a very even game state. Even though there is a small goal lead in favor of BLG, a lot of that is sitting in the top lane in favor of Bin, thanks to the early kill that he was able to get. But this is what we wanted to see. Both teams relatively even, setting up nicely for a Dragon.
I will say, at around the 10-minute mark in both the previous games, this was about the gold lead as well, Vetty. So until we get past 15 minutes...
I'm going to be optimistic, Medic.
Cool, cool. You want to be optimistic, I can understand that. It is relatively even right now, but often the game starts to explode around that 15-minute mark.
It certainly does. First items are going to be crucial. You'll notice that Bin looking to rush his Leandries, get that item completed as quickly as possible, something that we often see on these rumbles, whereas the early prioritization on the Merc Treads from Zayas makes a lot of sense. Both the Galio and the Rumble, very valuable things to have Merc Treads against, but no major items completed just yet. The grub spawning in about a minute's time, and Knight continuing to trade with Faker on the bot side of the map.
And both the teams just willing to have this push and pull between the waves, you know. It's about getting towards those first items, getting towards the next neutral objective that's spawning. So although it looks like it's in action, it's just these small microcosms of action happening in each lane to try and find those minute advantages.
And now you got to check those reset timers actually just before the second pack of grubs. A little interruption there, and now Faker cancels his recall on the bomb side, so he's not going for his base preemptively. He goes back to deal with the wave that Knight is pushing up.
Bin getting a nice push here. Yeah. Is sitting on just short of 1,000 gold right now. He has the Rumble ultimate as well. He's going to use it to clear the wave. They're looking for a dive.
TP coming in, might just be looking for another plate here as well. Knight going in with the taunt. Bin doesn't really have much left. Put the damage down. Shun on his way across them, and we'll have that Lamb's Respite. Zayas already down to 300 HP. Looking for a leap strike away, but Zayas falls. Knight takes the tower. Meanwhile, the hostile takeover goes just short of Elk as he flashes to safety. BLG able to survive down towards the bottom side.
Beautiful reward there for BLG getting there first.
Boom. Flash hook from on, they look for more. Faker goes back in, but the hero's entrance will bring Knight coming crashing down. Faker down to 300 HP. Bin now has that flank position, and the Leandry's complete. Owner jumps onto him with the Bolt Breaker and is able to keep him away from Faker for the moment. Faker dashes across the wall. Carrier's life will be forfeit to keep Faker alive. Brings out the bailout, but falls immediately after. Faker trying to escape. Knight still on the chase.
So beautifully done there from BLG. As you say, they're not done yet. Still seeking Faker.
Oh, but he didn't spot him. He doesn't actually know if he interrupted him or not. He's fishing for him. He's hunting. He wonders if Faker's still here.
Now he's seen him. Where are you going to go, Faker? Already absconded, already abducted. Elk is on his way to try and accept this kill as a tribute to him. Knight comes in from the side and will make sure that Faker doesn't have the luxury of executing.
That's 5 kills finals now for BLG. 11.5 minutes in. They have just been finding pick after pick, and it was such a well-executed dive on the top side, converted into a nice setup on the grubs, that BLG are once again outplaying T1.
And I want to highlight how BLG did it. They took over the jungle first. They're positioning first towards the objective, and then they got the early route through your jungle with the extra wards there, and being able to pull off that dive with the teleport. Nicely done. I have to say, though, fellas, are we in store for a third stomp in this game?
This is why you don't talk in 10 minutes, Benny. Yeah, 12 minutes in, it is a massive lead now for BLG. 1,000 gold ahead. They're getting those first items complete as well. It's an opportunity first for Elk. Faker has managed to get himself a rocket belt, so he is kind of equivalent with Knight, but Knight has 1,000 gold lead and is starting to build up towards those next items.
And what's fascinating is it's a quiet game for Knight, but his impact has been instrumental.
Yeah.
You'll see it in a lot of the trades that he has against Faker, but he's just out pushing Faker in the side lane, building a CS lead, building an experience lead that we didn't get to see in game 2, but then that converted pressure is working wonders on the map.
And that battle in the mid lane is one that has been raging for years. Knight, domestically a Titan, has the tied most domestic titles of any mid laner in the LPL. Obviously, Faker stands above all. Stands atop the mountain, but Knight has yet to have that international success at Worlds. He's won an MSI with JDG in 2023, but Worlds is yet to become his playground as BLG look for a play on the top side. Equalizer down, Ono able to dodge away with the Vault Breaker, escapes the rocket grab from On. Will they look for more? They still have the Lamb's Respite, remember, from the Kindred. That invulnerability field as Zeus is down to about half HP. He gets the leap strike out, and BLG will just force T1 away for now.
Yeah, T1 have to leave because Knight is in mid lane threatening that Galio ultimate. This mid laner you're talking about that does so much for his team on the Galio. Their game versus HLE, especially, some of these team fights, people were popping off. Elk, oh my god, insane play in these team fights, but that actually created so much space for him. Carrier actually, Renata ultimate.
Oh my god, I mean, this is such a crazy thing that's happening right now. T1 committed the teleport to the bot side knowing that that was their only option for a cross map, but Knight again got to bot wave and able to clear things out. T1 quickly adapt though, they convert their pressure into mid, they're able to unlock that tower while BLG actually keep the bot tower alive. Knight doesn't quite interrupt the reset from Faker, and now T1 can convert this into a dragon, but I think BLG is still more than happy with how things have played out.
Yeah, they want to keep on snowballing here, get the Rift Tail, keep on taking down these towers, open up more space on the map for you to position so aggressively with these blitzcrank plays, backed up by the threat of a Galio ultimate. The invades coming from Kindred, so much more fearsome when you have that defense of a Galio ult coming through, or even the long range of Rumble ultimates being able to follow there. So BLG, again, resetting after the Rift Herald as Knight pushes up once again, but they can immediately send that Rift Herald and everybody towards mid lane to try and pressure and knock down the domino line of outer towers.
Managing to open up that mid lane tier 1 as well just gives you so much more flexibility on the map. You can step into the jungle, you can start to steal away these camps. It's what we've seen both teams do so well from an advantageous position throughout this series. BLG 4,500 gold ahead, and they are forcing T1 out of their jungle. T1, thankfully for them, managed to pick up these camps before BLG were able to make their advance, but BLG will use that pressure to push through bot. They still have the Rift Herald in pocket as well if they want to look for a tier 2 down here, or if they do want to open up mid.
I mean, just look at the pressure that BLG is exerting right now on the minimap. It feels like that everything is collapsing for T1. They're trying their best to cross map, but that top tower is barely dented. Zeus should be able to get it, but they're going to lose so much in exchange. The bot tier 2 is going to be secured. BLG ballooning their gold lead now to 6k.
And all the towers are not equal value. The outer tower is 550 gold for your team. The secondary towers on the side lanes only, worth a full 800 for your team, so even bigger rewards there still for BLG, and while they're investing their Rift Herald into those tier 2s, so many of the towers already wiped clean off the map, and it really does show in their gold lead.
I think what's crucial about this draft as well is we saw it in game 1 where by leaving the Yone open, BLG were able to find a way in which they could shut down T1. Not only did T1 get the Silas, Ona got his Vi, Gumayushi got his hands on the Xayah, and Carrier got Renata. Like, you look at this draft from T1 and it's like, there's a lot of very comfort picks here. Zeus, also a very good Jax player. And BLG are just running rings around them. The way that they're finding these picks, the way that they're executing upon these plays, to see T1 being put under this kind of pressure is something that we really haven't seen any team do at this World Championship.
Yeah, specifically at this World Championship, though, because in the LCK Summer, we saw this a lot. We saw T1 struggling to have the coordination that we've seen from them at Worlds. Remember, they were only just the 4th seed from the LCK, one game away from it being KT, who perhaps would be here today. BLG, though, have been like this the entire year, from spring to MSI, and now into Worlds. They are a dominant team, and when they get a lead at 15 minutes, they have about an 88% win rate, and we've seen that so far at this tournament. Heroes entrance coming out. T1 trying to defend this mid-tier 1. Knight locked up underneath the tower, but he is damn tanky right now, and already Oner is down. The counter Heroes entrance coming out from Faker. He stole one away just to escape the play. BLG lose Knight, but they take the mid-tier 1.
Ooh, that was very aggressive. On under tower, they go for the Blitzcrank ult, and they start to play very, very early. They still get it, and they trade in the kills.
I really thought that was going to be a huge throw for BLG. T1 did a good job of clearing out the wave first, before then turning their attention onto BLG, and it felt like that their focus was divided between the tower and the fight, but somehow they get away with a 1-for-1 along with securing the objective.
Yeah, again, and the extra objective you talk about, yeah, the outer tower at 500 gold plus the kills, but here's the early hook on the Blitzcrank to start it out. So they're still tanking tower a bit. They're fine with it. Galio ult comes down. Renata does delay them under it. Then they're trying to both get their kills, but then also finish off the tower.
Ends up being Knight falling in exchange for Oner. Faker steals away the Galio ultimate to help with the disengage. You can feel the tension in the arena as T1, their backs are getting closer and closer to that wall. BLG continuing to extend the gold lead. Dragon spawns in 55 seconds. You imagine the T1 is going to look to concede this objective, as right now they're not really in a position to win a fight.
Importantly for Shun, he was able to pick up a mark in that fight on Oner and also take away a Gromp that was marked from Oner's jungle. So now he is at 4 marks. It was a very long time coming. Often you see, especially in solo queue, you see Kindreds really get those marks racked up early, but when you're not having as much action, it's harder to find them. And when the enemy team is playing around taking those camps away, obviously it will take you a little bit longer. But that Kindred, very much a champion now, has all of that extended extra range coming out from the marks.
And they have complete control here leading up to the Dragon. T1 doing their best to try and get some safe vision through their own jungle, but it's just so scary, constantly having to deal with On just fishing, throwing out these hooks from Blitzcrank. And there's so much extra power here on the side of BLG with all their money.
Faker steals away the equalizer pin, puts one down of his own, but the rest of BLG are here to join the party. Outnumbered, outgunned. Faker falls in the side lane, tries to clear out the wave. I think that cannon will survive, as will the backcasters.
I mean, often we talk about how when teams commit into collapsing onto Faker, something is often lost as a consequence, but here, Faker is just overextended on the side lane. He has no tier 2 tower to run to, and there's nowhere else on the map that T1 can really put pressure down towards. So BLG, they secure themselves another pick. They're going to secure the Dragon uncontested, kind of as we expected. And T1, the best they can look for is vision on the top side of the map, ready for a potential Baron play.
All right, finish up in their own jungle first to take all of the rewards. I mean, Ben just kind of walked up to him on the side lane and take away the jungle camps, take away their lives. Another mark here for Shun. 6 now on the Kindred, really accelerated.
BLG in a commanding position. I was the one that said I expected a closer game here. I was looking forward to some very close fights, but after that top lane tower dive, BLG have just been in the driver's seat. T1, their tools, their option, the way in which they can come back into this game is trying to find picks. They have Vi and they have Silas. Great setup for a potential catch on a side lane. The problem is they can't really get much control over the side lanes as BLG look to do to T1 what they were doing to them in game 2 by just constantly keeping these waves pushed in and suffocating their vision, making T1's playmaking options very limited.
There's one flank board in the top lane. You can see just next to where the blue buff would be. There's one in the mid lane as well. Knight here stepping forward. Faker spotted on vision as T1 decide not to pull the trigger on the plays. Zeus and Faker do have their teleport, so if you're looking to shut someone down, Knight is an option because he will often be on that side lane, but he has 2 items already, Riftmaker as well, giving him that Omni-Vamp if he's in combat for a long time. And with Shun waiting around the corner, might come around towards
TP?
mid. TP behind, they're looking for the play. It's Knight who's locked down, the rest of BLG are trying to get into it. TP coming out as well, the hostile takeover used, immediately locks up Bin, but look at the damage, there just is none. And now Shun is here to join the battle. Zeus tries to jump on top of him, Knight falling low, he gets the taunt though, and Bin's already on a rampage. Oda has to dash away, Guma didn't even get an opportunity to join the fray, and On doesn't want to give him an opportunity to leave. BLG 5-4, and Baron is on the menu.
They go at Knight, but he's too tanky, and BLG are going to respond in kind. The Baron will be theirs.
They were limited on their options, but the TP flank was a great idea. The problem is the damage. You highlighted it, Kobe. Knight was too tanky. They didn't have enough. And on the re-engage, BLG just melted T1.
We look like we're gonna get another one-sided game in this series, back and forth. BLG here kind of on the precipice, winning this one, pushing them to a match point in the series. Here's another look at it. As you say, T1 know that they are falling so far behind in this game. They've got to try and make one of these overloaded plays to the side lane. So they try and get the jump on tonight, but it's so difficult. The defense there, Bin immediately arrives, Shun right afterwards, and so they don't even have to use a Kindred ultimate. Didn't even force anything out of BLG there, just too far ahead.
And then look at the damage that's going to come through from Elk as well. Going for the lethality build, that Q just tore Gumayushi apart. And I mean, BLG now with the lead that they have, they'll be setting their sights on the inhibitor towers of T1's base. T1 have to be thinking about game 4. They bounced back incredibly well in game 2. You imagine they'll be looking to get back onto the blue side, but this game feels done and dusted. It's just a matter of how BLG put the final nail in the coffin.
And if you're T1, you need something miraculous right now, but we've already seen how the damage lacks, especially if Gumayushi isn't there. Faker has finished up his Rift Maker, but he's sitting at 0-4-1 in this game. Has been well and truly shut out by BLG, who are now advancing through the top side. Knight has the hero's entrance to join a play if it does occur. BLG, though, can just step forward. T1 really can't find an avenue to approach this next fight. On looking for the Hex Slash hook, doesn't quite connect. Knight, though, doesn't have a wave in the mid lane. Could go across towards bot. The next wave's still about 20 seconds away from crashing into that mid lane inhibitor tower. And here's the engage. Knight locked up, tried to Justice Punch away, but once again, T1 are engaging on the tankiest member of BLG, and they can't find anything with it. That's a Fate's Call used. That's the hostile takeover invested as well from Carrier, and BLG shrug it off, shrug their shoulders, and begin the advance once again.
T1, and not much they can do in the face of this LPL onslaught. They're just gonna have to watch 2 inhibitors go down, and still— I
don't think they're gonna stop at 2.
Still, they've got another 34 seconds left on this Baron, and so they're immediately pushing this one down as well.
I mean, all I'm thinking of right now is what a great story for Shun it has been. You guys already mentioned what happened during the regular season with the income of Wave, but to bring out the Kindred now once again, the TP flank.
Hook going down, cease and desist, they're looking to lock down Shun. Kerry already fallen as the hero's entrance will block Shun from taking any more damage. Alongside that, the Lamb's Respite. T1 have lost their support, but can they find the fight? Zeus pulls a stopwatch, doesn't have much mana left. As Knight goes in for the engage and still lands the taunt. Gumayushi down to half HP. Zeus has already fallen as BLG continue to advance.
Oh, está colapsando BLG, weón. Murieron 2. Mierda, la ventaja es 13k, weón. Ok, ya. Volvió. Sí, volvió. Puta, creo que he estado más tiempo afuera en el stream que... Creo que he estado más tiempo afuera en el stream, haciendo otras cosas que mirando el directo, weón. Sí. Ah, flanqueo. ¿Quién flanqueó? Faker. Ah, Zeus flanqueó. Puta, la hizo Loner. La hizo Loner. La hizo Loner. Vamos, Team One. No sé, weón, esto ya... Me atrevería a decir que esto ya es juego. O sea, son 14, es 12k diferencia y son 3 indicadores abajo.
Resurrection for the LPL, that redemption so important for them. Redemption as well for BLG as they lost to Weibo last year and weren't able to make it to the finals. Now, with 3 waves of super minions pushing in, BLG are forcing T1 to make their final stand in this game. Ona goes in with a bolt break.
What the fuck? Ah, lo jaló. Pum, pum. Ojalá Saya a la mierda. Juego.
But BLG have come into this series looking nothing but confident.
You can say that again. Straight from draft, straight from the level ones, in-game clean.
It really was. We're going to be back with game 4 in just a few moments.
Insisto, si el anterior, si en el juego 2 no hubiese sido un Sin Chao, hubiese sido otra cosa, yo creo que ganaba BLG, weón. Mierda, weón, está yuca. Oye. ¿Qué fue la First Blood? ¿Cómo fue la First Blood?
The aggressive positioning from either Shun or on here, constantly looking for plays on T1 members in rotations, you know, between those lanes swapping over. So let's see if they can actually make use of it. Currently keeping on an Elk through mid lane here, trying to deny this cannon. And it does go down there. Nicely done.
Ultimately, though, it's a very even game state. Even though there is a small goal lead in favor of BLG, a lot of that is sitting in the top lane in favor of Bin, thanks to the early kill that he was able to get. But this is what we wanted to see. Both teams relatively even, setting up nicely for a dragon.
I will say, at around the 10-minute mark in both the previous games, this was about the gold lead as well, Betty.
Aló. Quiero ver qué pasó. ¿Cómo fue la First Blood? Se le hicieron a Honor. ¿Cómo fue? ¿Counter gank? Ah, lo flanquearon al man. Ay, se lo robó. Y flasheó encima. Wow. Ah, claro, flasheó porque había un flanqueo ahí. Triple flash para matar al jungla, weón. O sea, cuando dice que el meta chino es estrellar la partida. Porque eso es lo que hace los chinos, eso es lo que hace el LPL, juegan así. El LPL es como jugamos en LAN, que es hacer teamfights a lo bruto. Pero la diferencia es que los chinos lo hacen bien, pe. Te voy a subir el... Ahí está. Esa es la diferencia. Los chinos juegan así, como jugamos en Latinoamérica Norte, Latinoamérica Sur. Pero la diferencia es que lo hacen bien, pe. No como nosotros que hacemos eso y luego troleamos la partida. Han puesto una cosa en Facebook. Sigo sin saber cuál es este jugador llamado Draft, al que los fans de T1 siempre culpan de todo. Oh, man. Van Neko, Manaco. El mundo aprendió que la debilidad de T1 es un Blitzcrank, ese por todo Misfits. Es cierto, yo me acuerdo, nunca olvidé el Blitzcrank de Misfits del 2017. Era 2017, weón. Con un Blitzcrank los puso en jaque. Misfits, weón, Misfits 2017. Yo vi ese mundial, weón. Yo como grité cuando Misfits casi le gana al Team One, weón. Me hubiese gustado mucho que los conejos le hayan hecho. Dios abandonó este... Ah, la primera sangre. Pum. Ya hay nada que hacer. Pum. Pum. Ah, pling. ¿Para qué jugar un hipercarry cuerpo a cuerpo? Que no sirve. Sin Chaco no puedes jugar una de carry de rango que sí sirve. Kindred. La verdad, voy a decir una cosa. Esto pudo haber sido un 3-0 si es que BLG no se descontrolaba en la segunda partida. Si BLG no se descontrolaba en la segunda partida, porque en todas las partidas BLG propuso. En todas las partidas BLG propuso. Y es el estilo de la LPL. La LPL juega literalmente lo que yo digo siempre. Yo siempre cuando juego me gusta decir que yo estrello el teclado. Que es literalmente cuando juegas a hacer hiperplays desde el inicio de la partida. Yo digo estrellar el teclado cuando juego Age of Empires, que cuando hago jugadas super agresivas o jugadas estúpidas. Y literalmente BLG lo que ha hecho eso. Algunos dicen golpea la mesa cuando propone una jugada. Yo digo estrella en el teclado cuando propone una jugada. BLG está haciendo eso esta partida, en el sentido de que ha estado proponiendo el estrés. Se ha visto. Se ha visto. En la segunda partida BLG también propuso, pero T1 pudo responder mejor. Y lo peor de todo es me da pena G2, weón, porque si BLG gana este mundial, mira, BLG llegó a la final. Y no hay que olvidar que G2 pudo haber llegado quizás a cuartos, pudo haber llegado a semis. Pudo haber llegado a cuartos, pudo haber llegado a semis, pero no, a G2 lo pusieron contra el eterno finalista. Y G2 tranquilamente le sacó un juego. G2 le sacó un juego a BLG. Y claro, porque BLG casi se va al mundial. BLG casi se despide del mundial. Si ganaba G2, BLG estaría aquí. Rekkless no ha jugado y ya se le enfrió el pecho, está dejando congelados a T1. No, ¿cómo joden la Rekkless, pobrecito? ¿Por qué ha maneado Nico? ¿What? Fue Rumble, Kindred. Dejaron Open Jats. Sacaron a Varus, Ashe, Skarner, Sejuani y Draven. Y piquearon Kalista para denegar al... Piquearon Kalista para denegar a Gumayusi. Aurora.
Excited to see him on it. It's with double. It's with the
XP difference, right? You see, this is.
Yeah, because T1 kept on giving BLG. This would be such.
Plus the vibe.
Primer pick fue Kaisa. No, Kalista, perdón.
It's one of his most played on his solo queue account. In that fourth game.
Kalista first pick. Uy.
BLG was able to win from the red side in game 1. It kind of breaks up everything going forward into a possible game 5, maybe. But overall, do we have the feeling that BLG is the better team today so far?
I think personally they've been stepping up a huge amount when it comes to good draft in game number 1. I think their early game has been significantly more explosive, but I still look at the game 2 adaptation, and I think that's really where we got to see T1 shine. So, and I'm still curious as to what happens when you do get carried with that counter pick. So I'm not, pushing the boat out too much. I still think T1 have a lot left in.
I think the coolest thing, Rob, because I know you wanted to take a look at this, was how they've also been playing really well with grubs and being able to push onto turrets, right?
No me quedé
I
nada.
wanted to set up a talent rate kind of.
¿Qué está bueno?
So one of the big things as we start to move in towards this, I want to highlight is just the fact that you've already got this big push coming through on the top side of the map that is set up where you look at where the Jax is on the map, you're not really contesting on the push. You're now getting this Rift Herald for yourself as well. And as we start to play at the clip, look at what BLG do off of reset. They have 5 grubs, so when a push comes to shove and they're trying to trade on the map, they will be significantly quicker. And traditionally, you would actually see the rumble opening up to move up in towards this top side of the map. But that's not what we're actually getting
Ese soy yo.
Instead, they are just cancelling out on this top side. They all open up on this bottom half of the map. And it means that then they're in a position as they go through to move and shift all of these members down and just play off of a singular lane.
Oh, espérate, estoy.
They push Team 1 back. Now they have the Rift Herald in their back pocket as well, and you're still only getting that initial push on that top side. So it's BLG saying, hey, we're willing to trade very effectively and get
No, Patas, este bueno es un artista.
I like that you highlighted that because even during the last post game we were talking about like, oh, they're just, team fighting one.
A la mierda, del daño.
But it's not just that. That game plan from BLG goes much, much deeper. But let's turn our attention to T1 now. The cheers that you just heard was the players getting back on stage and tap back into what we set up here at the top of the day about T1 and how when you play versus them, you really gotta punch them hard.
T1 selects blue side.
That comfort that they have at Worlds specifically in situations like this, and it feels like their armor is pierced, Maurits. How do they stop the bleeding?
You gotta clean up the early game, because early game has been so deciding. Early leads have been the biggest indicator of how a game is gonna play out throughout this series. And I also wanna make very clear, T1, even with their Worlds win last year, their Game 5 struggles have continued. They weren't able to actually get the win, being in this position in Spring Finals against Gen G, and then when they faced off against BLG...
A la mierda, ¿qué está? Oh, weón.
Of course I believe!
Puta que voy a hacer la vuelta.
One can only hope so. I will say there's a trend in the game so far. Every losing team has had 3 kills. We've had 18 to 3, 18 to 3, 17 to 3. And every game has ended between 27 minutes and 0 seconds and 27 minutes and 59 seconds. So if we break that curse somehow, it was Halloween a couple of days ago. Perhaps there's something going on here in the O2 as we get into draft. 4 game 4 match point. Championship point for BLG for T1. An opportunity to prove once again that they deserve that shot at the title in game 5.
Once again, going to be banned on the side of T1. The Skarner, in response to the Yone ban, to not allow that first pick to come through for T1. We are setting up for the Ashe first pick. The Kalista going to be removed by BLG. That's their adaptation. And there's likely going to be the Ashe lock-in for T1. You imagine the Renata again rises in priority once more, and the Ashe Renata is the direction that T1 will head to.
Oh,
the
Insta pick Ashe.
Here for BLG, of course, with the Jax.
6.
And into the Ziggs combo, nice.
Oh.
They have their AP damage secured from the bottom.
Ah, 6 de BLG.
Safety of Ziggs.
Renata. Manuel Jats, Yone, Varus, Kalista. Skarner, Aurora.
Look to blow up towers as the game goes on.
Looks like T1 is just going to go towards the tried and true Renata carry, who's been so solid on it across the course of 2024. We'll lock it in once again, and now perhaps look to the top lane, give Zeus something good into the Gnar, but Gnar just
make them believe.
line pick that really, I'm pretty sure Bin will be happy with any of those matchups.
They also look to lock in jungle now. Maybe they could grab the vibe for themselves. Even though it didn't work out last time, Ona's still an exceptional vibe player. Gives you that lockdown. Also just, it synergizes really nicely with the Ashe.
Sylas.
Instead, they're gonna pick
Okay,
the Sylas.
sure.
Makes sense. Ziggs, Gnar, both great ultimates
No.
to steal.
Bits.
You'd like to go to look towards
Ah, eso no was.
Makes sense, get Smolder in.
Smolder!
You hear the reactions from the crowd on that one too?
Smolder, what the fuck? ¿Qué es esto?
Yes, does have
No.
to scale a lot and stack up dragon stacks, but we've
Smolder, what the fuck?
lane phase against a lot
Ese es
of
disrespect pero máximo. The Smolder.
Let's take a look as the bans come through. Definitely target jungle. The
B.
one mentioned take away from owner, and then on T1's side, what supports are they worried about? They're probably On's probably just gonna go with one of those engagers, you know, Rel type champions.
Blitzcrank.
They're still scared of
Matando el Blitz, weón. Nocturno. Claro, para que no hagan hyper engage.
Faker getting caught a few times in that game. The Nocturne. I mean, the adaptations coming through from PLG, denying what made T1 successful in game 2. I mean, really, not much of a. I mean, now that the Nocturne's gone, T1 could still go for the Ornn once more, but the blind pick Gnar kind of deters that again. And PLG's draft approach, I think, has been very smart. They
Xin
know
Chao.
the tendencies that T1 like to go towards. The Xin Chao going to be taken away.
¿Se viene Frownley? ¿Se viene Frownley secundario o...?
Very pinched, but the Sejuani.
Sejuani.
A reliable frontline engage,
Ok.
and that's going to be locked in.
No me gusta Sejuani tampoco. Prefiero la antigua, pero está bien.
providing that synergy to his solo laners, with the Sylas also already locked in on the side of T1 to complement it.
Rumble.
You already have that meta, as you say. We'll see where
¿Puedo picar Rumble?
go next.
¿Puedo picar René?
We were talking
Con
about
Ajax.
the Neil from Bin's perspective as a counter to Gnar. Zeus also played it against
Rumble,
Bin
sí.
many times, but he's not going to play it today. Back to the Rumble.
Wukong.
here,
Oh!
with the Rumble plus the
Oh!
fighting combination here, quite possibly with the Wukong.
I mean, Zeus' Rumble is definitely a terrifying pick. He's so comfortable on the champion and into the Gnar. I think in the early laning phase, Rumble can still be very impressive. Later on, it gets a little bit safer for the Gnar.
Galio. Poppy.
Looks like he's gonna
Poppy!
go for Ona instead. Signature pick for Ona, one that he's incredibly comfortable on.
Poppy jungla, weón. Ojo, Poppy jungla. Poppy jungla, weón.
Really good answer.
Poppy Cristo.
Good disengage as well. You can see PLG once again drafting a lot of team fights.
Quiero un Rakan.
The go-to approach from PLG.
Puta, weón.
They have easy ways of engage. They have
¿Cómo deniegas un engage de Sejuani y Rakan?
Whenever you see Smolder and Zeus,
Poppy.
its ability to slow
A la mierda, Poppy tiene un bajo win rate, 7-16.
so effective because of the wave.
So this game, though, the previous games in this series have been a lot centered on who is going to find success in the grubs and get at least 4 to 6 grubs for their team, and then be able to push down.
De una, Poppy se los banca. Sí, weón, te deniega un tiro de nada, te deniega la entrada de Rakan.
I would definitely prefer to be the
Claro, es que T1 está jugando al disengage, pero.
This game will put to the test. You know, is RBLG going to be able to outscale that later with some smolder value?
I definitely think T1 have gotten themselves a lot of what fits into their style. Pick comps have been very successful so far at this World Championship. Their ability to catch someone off on a side lane and convert that into something greater was something we also saw with the Ornn Nocturne composition they drafted earlier in this series. And so Gumayushi's arrows are going to be crucial, and Faker's stealing of things like the Sejuani ultimate and the Gnar ultimate are going to be important to setting up those plays for T1.
I really want to see the T1 bottom lane. How much value do they get out of the Ashe plus Kalista? Such a strong combination for them. Resi sit. Excuse me, Renata.
Ah, weón. Poppy se los banca. O un Veronito, Emilio.
For T1, our reigning world
Emilio.
champions find themselves needing to win 2 games to get themselves a 5th
Y empezó la partida, weón. Vamos ahí, empezó la partida, weón. BLG, otra vez una combo que busca estrellar la partida. Busca estrellar el teclado, weón. Por la chucha. Quiere proponer contra una Poppy Renata. Renata no es más pick, porque Renata con la ulti te hace un disengage, pero un disengage muy bonito. Pero... puta, no sé, no me gusta Zigzag de carry, sinceramente. No sé cuál es la manía de jugar Zigzag de carry. Invente.
Tiny bit of ward experience is currently still in the game on this world's patch. Not taken out quite yet.
Puta, otra vez un invade, weón. Otra vez un invade.
As T1 go for their invade, get their ward down, Ben will just be forced to watch on.
And for the first time this series, we'll see the split map. Ben is hovering around. I wonder if he's trying for... Nah, okay, no steal for him. The ward in the brush as well will spot out if Ben tries to...
¿Y qué es el ignar? ¿A dónde se va a ignar? Ah, está caminando hacia abajo. ¿En serio Snarf va a hacer eso? ¿Se va a tomar todo el camino hacia abajo? ¿Qué está haciendo Vin? Ah, lo va a apoyar en el invade. Ok, lo apoyan en el invade al pata. Pero igual, no me gusta lo que pasó con Vin, weón. Ah, es que tampoco están dejando farmear a Zeus, weón. Puta, weón. No han dejado farmear a Zeus, pobrecito. No, van a hacer... Se viene Hyperdrive. Se viene Hyperdrive. No, 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 no. Wow, huevón. Wow, huevón, no puede ser que eso haya funcionado. Puta, esos chinos están bien cagados, están bien locos, weón. Igual no me gusta la posición de Vin. Y no sé por qué como yo soy una estrella de línea. Bueno, sí, no soy una estrella de línea en realidad. Claro, está haciendo perder de minions a ganar de forma natural. Con felicidad.
Get the first blood money there with the cash in, but then teleports right back down to the bottom lane.
Zeus has no flash to really threaten him if it is a 1v1. Elk has a flash and of course the satchel to escape any precarious situations. Kerry is working his way up towards the top side. Bin without that summoner himself. Perhaps we'll see a dive materializing because Ona's on his way towards that top lane. Faker forcing
no, Faker, weón.
Make it very difficult for him to stay around. Kerry are looking for the handshake.
A la verga, weón. A Vin no le han dejado jugar nada. No le dejan jugar a Vin, weón. ¿No juegas otro gank? Wow. Puta, pero la vaina es que Vin no está farmeando nada. Vin no está farmeando nada, weón.
Ultimately, he still finds himself ahead of his top lane counterpart.
Yeah, dying for experience, sticking around down there on the bottom sides. Meanwhile, finishing up with the rest of this.
Puta, lo de Vin sí es lamentable, weón. Es lamentable lo de Vin, no puede farmear, no le dejan farmear. No sé por qué está. Bueno, ya sí, pienso que están arriba esperándolo.
pushing in constantly with this smolder, stacking up, scaling quite nicely, even working away at his own turret plate.
He's going to get knocked up here. It's more about just getting stacks for Knight. As you say, he's on 24 right now. We'll just want to get towards that 225 mark. Zeus, once again, a little bit overstepped here in the bottom side. A bin jumps in, hops on, and Minion takes the highway express to get towards this Rumble, who goes overheated. Flame Spitter going down, but Zeus is going.
Mierda, man, lo que hacen con Bin. Lo que hacen con Zeus, man. A la mierda, vamos, 0-3 Zeus de Zeus. Mierda, man.
Is really going to make things difficult for T1 in this early game. You can see Shun with a 300 gold lead over his jungle counterpart. That Ziggs is being accelerated so much and been able to close that gold gap that had previously been built up in favor of Zeus.
Pero igual, aunque lo hayan matado 3 veces a Zeus, la diferencia de oro es un K nomás. Y es porque Bin no ha estado farmeando nada. Pero no sirve de nada, no sirve de nada que tenga 3 kills y la ventaja de oro es solamente un K. Tienes un K y un Nar que sigue siendo un cono. La diferencia de oro no es abismal, que debería serlo, porque la Nar no está haciendo nada, pues no puede hacer nada. La diferencia de oro es pequeñísima. No me gusta la situación de Nar, sinceramente. No me gusta lo que han hecho con él. O sea, sacrificando al Nar para sacarle 3 kills a un Rambo. No sé, no me gusta, man. A menos que esté jugando a dilatar la partida, se muere Knight. Bueno, claro, si juegan a dilatar la partida frenando un Honor a un Zeus que está en el 6, se entiende, la verdad.
So has that enchanted crystal arrow. On's going to try and hold this wave so that Elk can get back to the relative safety of the tower.
Exactly. It's a nice little kind of
Ese fue una misplay fea de Rakan.
Guma and Keria run past the tower to zone Elk out from the minions, but On tries to go collect, as you said. So On actually gets in, and they're kind of funneling extra experience there into him, but now Elk is finally able to make his way over.
¿Ves? La diferencia es .3k. No le funcionó la jugada a ENG. Y está buena Zapatín One. Encima van a regalar un Drake. Van a regalar un Drake, regalar unos objetivos. Esos 3 kills sobre Zeus no significan nada. Porque no... El Ignar, a pesar que vaya una kill en esa tendencia arriba, igual está bajo de farm. Yo insisto, no sé qué hizo el Nar debió quedarse arriba. No forzar esa First Blood.
POG's perspective, the fact that they've been able to find these advantages in what is a very scaling comp, Knights going to be forced to flash away, knows that the setup play from Ona was very risky. So BLG having this advantage in the early game just better sets them up for scaling later. Baker face checking.
Straight into Shun, the Glacial Prison hits, but Baker heals up with that Kingslayer. Ona's going to force Shun away for now. On does have the quickness, but doesn't want to dash in to bolster the attack of Shun. In the end, Faker.
Y la diferencia de oro sigue siendo mínima. Él literalmente no le da. Crops, Drake de viento. No sé, se muere bien, creo. Le saca ventaja de 200 de oro. 20 minions.
He's very comfortable in terms of gold, so I think that T1 definitely still have avenues, even though things aren't looking great for them near the game.
Yeah, in the 1 versus 1 down there, had a huge wave for himself at the tower as well to collect. So even though the rest of BLG getting kills onto him in the 1 versus 1.
No quieren jugar greedy, se entiende. Pero claro, o sea. ¡Ay, la falló! ¡Ay, Faker! Todo porque falló la Q. Todo porque falló la Q. Todo porque falló la Q.
Now, Shun will just get there a little bit later. Not
¿Qué
going to
se
have
pone?
any sort of kill threat as far as damage goes.
Ah, se lo deja el Final
no
Six.
foul, though. Again, these
Y
zigs
listo, ya diferencia de oro.
back to the minions at the very least.
Lo de Vin no le salió.
What a confidence booster for T1 as well to see
Lo de Vin no le salió, sinceramente.
has to reignite the T1
No me gustó lo de Vin, sinceramente. Y T1 ¡ah! ¡A la mierda! ¿Cuánto es ese, huevón? Y aún así no mataron a Kari. Puta, Rakan que mueve todo ahí.
well to see
Stack these void grubs, get that bonus to be able to take down a lot of
El problema es que no han matado, ahora que no han matado a Kari, T1 tranquilamente se puede hacer los crops porque no tiene recursos, ni BLG no tiene nada de recursos para frenar una teamfight.
is going to be available soon.
Sí, se va a hacer el... Ah, Poppy. What the fuck? ¿Qué es un knight? Ah, batida TP, ok. Mercury Trips. Ok.
Too far away from the play, now making his way down, but Faker controlling the river, trying to force on back. The arrow isn't quite going to connect, and that is looking to be 6 scrubs for T1, so part 1 of the plan coming true.
Tranquilamente podían forzar una ulti en el 6 en los crops. Pero bueno, a ver, es que quiere regalar el objetivo. Está bien. Teo.
Let's see if they can actually get the 6th one here. It is actually kind of important to get the double void might spawn. Should be able to, no problem. Nobody around to smite steal.
Listo, 6.
They will secure that very big objective. We have seen how quickly you can get tower gold.
Y Zeus, pues bueno, F. Sí, Zeus le tira más oro que Vin. Le saca 400 de oro.
Benefiting from finding those early kills onto Zeus, but after losing his life from Gumayushi, kind of playing the map well, he's been able to close that gold gap thanks to the CS advantage that he's been able to find. And we find ourselves in a neutral game state, 12 and a half minutes into game 4.
Tiny goal lead for BLG. You can see shown about 500 gold ahead.
La diferencia ahora es mínima. Literal, casi nada, weón. Es un par de minions. Claro. Quizás el early game de BLG le ayudó un poco para frenar quizás la estabilidad que pudo haber propuesto T1 con Poppy. No, pero igual la composición T1 no es para proponer, la composición T1 es para reaccionar. Entonces no sé, bueno, quizás por eso escogieron a los Smolder, porque ya no quieren proponer, quieren jugar tranquilos. ¡No! ¡Uy! ¡Falló! Puta, falló todo el Vin, man. ¡No! ¡Uy! No, falló la ulti. What? Oh, okay, sure. Gente, queda demostrado, 6 carry no sirve. 6 carry no sirve. No importa cuando veas esto. No sé por qué insisten con el pick de 6 carry, la verdad. No me gusta. Al igual que tampoco me gusta el hinchado. Sí, le hace bien carry también. Ya, este es juego de Team One, weón. No. Puta, menos que... Aunque claro, la diferencia es 1.5k, weón. A mí sí me gusta. Sí, Six tiene su pokeo, Six tiene su vaina, pero... No sé, weón. En skirmishes... Claro, es que lo que pasa es que BLG creo que ahora sí propuso un juego un poco más escalado con el tema del Smolder. El tema de Smolder y Six han propuesto un juego de escalada, pero... Claro, lo bueno del equipo, lo bueno de la combo de T1 es que es un equipo de Engage. Y sin Engage. Y Gnar no puede entrar tampoco, porque Gnar no aguanta nada. ¿Y por qué no aguanta nada Gnar? Porque no farmeó nada al inicio del juego. Puro pusheo. Sí, pero no sirve.
So they're not going to look to use it on this wave. Come back to a crucial point. BLG's composition have a lot of tools to stall. So securing
Escenario aparece Beto.
help T1 unlock these towers and keep the pressure up.
No, a ver. Sí, pero no sé si le hubiese dado el ángulo a Leonard para matar a la Poppy. En plan, si Leonard metía bien la ulti abajo, no sé si lo mataba, la verdad. A ver. Sí, es que metió el stun hacia abajo y no le dio ninguno. Yo no juego a Gnar. Ay, Daviano en torre. Oh, no, T1. No hay daño. Ah, pero está el Smolder. Puta, huevón. ¿Llega? Mierda, no. Yo soy ese espectador. Hicieron dive, ¿no? No vi bien.
Well, they're trying to answer mid here for T1. The bomb doesn't quite take out all of the...
No hay minions. ¿Faker? ¿Faker? Okay. A la mierda, con todo se tragó.
But Ben with some crucial playmaking there, getting a beautiful ultimate off onto two members of T1, and then just barely getting away.
Nada, le metió el ulti a todos. Chucha.
Coming back to life thanks to the Renata passive as well. The mid tower still not going to fall just because of the wave flip from out. Carrier tries his best. The Mites should be able to secure this. No! Knight going to deny that once more. BLG fighting that tower's life. But here we go. Let's look back at the replay.
Alright, so it starts out. They use both Faker's ulti as well as the Ash arrow. And as you say, Bin, just as he goes in, gets the knockback on two of them there, Carrier and Owner. And so they get the first kill. Knight then arrives on the Smolder, flashing forward to chase them down with his freshly completed Trinity Force. And BLG, I mean, we have seen Smolder scale into terrifying areas.
Si ese Smolder escala, puta, weón. Pero, a ver, esa ulti de Gnar. Ya, eso fue un error en Honor, voy a decir. Para mí eso fue un error de Honor. Debió estonear al... Creo que no le dio tiempo a reaccionar a Honor para tirar al doble Poppy. Porque ahí también, puta, eso fue muy desafortunado porque la Poppy no lo estoneó. Solamente le dio. Entra Gnar. La Poppy no lo estoneó, solamente lo empujó. Yo insisto, no sé por qué el pata los empujó hacia la torre, los empujó hacia la derecha. Que yo sepa, el rango del ulti de Gnar es circular, así que tú puedes apuntar a cualquier lado y igual lo vas a mandar. Yo hubiese preferido que los mande hacia arriba a la derecha, pero el pata los empujó. Claro, pero aquí también es que también acá el problema estuvo también mucho tiempo la... Carajo. Honor tanqueó mucho la torre. ¿Y por qué como yo se quedó vendido? Le metió el ulti, el Rakan lo soñó. Puta, man. What the fuck, se equilibró la ventaja de oro. ¿Por qué regalaron Drake? Chucha, regalaron Drake. Oye, han regalado Drake, no te quedo, man. Miércoles. ¿Pero mataron a alguien? No. Me sorprende que BLG no haya contestado ese dragón. O sea, Smolder escala y la hace fuerte, pero tampoco hay que dormirse en el dragón. Aunque claro, el dragón es dragón de agua. Es cierto que la ventaja de oro ahorita está un poco a favor de Team One o de BLG. Uy, lo cagó. ¡No! ¡Pero esa ulti! Buena propuesta de Team One ahí. Muy buena propuesta la de Team One. Muy buena propuesta la de Team One ahí. Muy buena propuesta. Este ya es juego. Este ya es juego. Ah, pero puta, tiene TP de... No, pero el Rakan está tocadísimo. No hay ward, no hay ward, no hay ward. Mierda. Oh. ¿Pueden hacer disengage? Si se matan a... No, no van a hacer nada. Sacrificaron a Zeus. Cuidado. ¡Está en el bush! Oh. Hola, Fire, viene en el stream. Es que claro, ahí la Sejuani falló la ulti, huevón. Ahí falló la ulti de la Sejuani, se le fue todo el caño. Pero yo insisto. Esa ulti de Sejuani no me gustó porque debió guardarla para la Renata. O sea, apenas vio a Faker, yo ahí hubiese tirado ulti abajo. Ulti al carry o al Honor. Pero yo no sé bien cómo funciona. Yo no sé si el ulti de Sejuani ahorita es como el anterior. Porque antes del reward de Sejuani, la ulti caía a uno y se esparcía a todos los que están alrededor. Entonces si le caía a Keria, capaz se le iba a Honor. Y Faker quedaba vendidísimo. Claro, y falló el ulti de la Sejuani y se le fue todo el carro. Esto es juego, son 3. ¡Ah! ¡Uy, chucha! Faker no está. Mierda. Uy, Faker está vivo. Ahí vemos cómo Six no sirve. Lo cual no es ninguna novedad. ¡Uy! NT. Vemos como cuando vemos que Six AD Carry no sirve, lo cual no es ninguna novedad.
Feeling the Faker effect here. He's not the start of this play. The arrow connected, forcing the summons out. Then when the range gauge...
Ah, la ulti del eso solamente le cae a uno. Yo no sé qué puedo haber hecho PLG ahí, sinceramente, aparte de esperar al Smolder. Porque no esperaba al Smolder, pues se le fue todo el caño. Yo no sé qué hizo la Sejuani ahí, sinceramente. Ah, creo que Sejuani flashó para que el Smolder lo mate. Pero se le fue todo al carajo. Tenemos quinto juego. Ya son... puta, son 4K. No, 4K yo creo que sí es insostenible. Por lo menos con un equipo de la talla de Team One. Y la vaina es que BLG regaló todos los Drakes. Literalmente, BLG jugó a regalar todos los objetivos. Se están confiando mucho en los Smolder, ¿no? Se están confiando mucho los de BLG a regalar los objetivos de esta forma. Para mí, BLG perdió desde el momento que sacrificaron a Bean. Eso del Ignar que sí ahora está un K y medio atrás. Está 2K atrás el Ignar, ya es un objeto. No, simplemente no. Ignar no aguanta nada. Y un Ignar que no aguanta nada con ese Juan y no hay daño. Es que no hay daño, bueno. No hay daño. No pueden, verás que no puede responder porque están jugando a defender al esto, pero no hay daño. Hola. Pandosue, weón. Grande Pandosue. Faker lo está haciendo bien. Lo ha hecho bien con Sylas, de verdad. Ha hecho buenos engages. Muy buenos engages, voy a decir. Pueden haber forzado, sinceramente. Pero como no hay daño, porque es un zigzag de carry, entonces no, pues no pueden forzar. Puta, pero el Smolder tiene 60 minions más, weón. No me jodas. Yo creo que Smolder podría funcionar, pero con zigzag de carry, claro, pican zigzag de carry porque no iban a piquear Rambo, no tenían daño mágico, porque no hay Rambo. Entonces, por eso piquearon el zigzag de carry. Puta, weón. Si aguantan más tiempo si pueden por Smolder. Pueden aguantar. O sea, la diferencia... ¡Ah! Lo cagó. Tiene que ultear. Tiene que ultear. Como cuando vemos que el SIG no sirve. Ese es varón. No hay jungla. Ya este es juego, weón. No puedes esperar que Smolder haga todo cuando Smolder ni siquiera se ha hecho nada de penetración de armadura. Van a forzar, weón. La ulti no le da a nadie. El Smolder B no pega nada. No hay daño. No hay daño, weón. No hay daño. Puta, Faker inicia. ¿No le deja meter ulti? Se timea eso se timea, está muertísimo. Flash de tiempo. Man, pero el Smolder no pegó ni una vez, se puso a farmear. Es que Smolder tiene que jugar a farmear, pero el problema del Smolder, puta, es que no hay daño, es que el daño es el 6. El daño es el 6, pero el problema es que no le dejan jugar al 6, weón. No lo dejan jugar al 6. No lo están dejando jugar al 6. Se muere el Zoom. Tiene que flashear. No, es que tiene que mantenerse vivo para defender los pushes. Yo me hubiese sacrificado sinceramente si no tenían varón. Si no tenían varón yo sí me hubiese dejado matar. Porque nada sirve. Pero es que Vin no ha pegado nada, bro. Y eso que Vin está haciendo daño. Y eso que Vin está haciendo full daño, pero Vin no ha hecho nada de daño. Ok, me reta, pero el Six está haciendo daño, pero el problema es que no hay suficiente daño. No hay suficiente daño. ¿De qué te sirve que tengas dos hipercarries cuando al otro lado tienes un Sylas mid que te jode mucho? Un Rumble que te puede setear. Entonces, el problema de T1 es que el Zeus, mira cuánto daño hizo Zeus, weón, a comparación de Vin. Es irónico que la Sejuani esté haciendo más daño que Vin, weón. Y eso que la Sejuani es un full tank. Exacto. Barón en 1 minuto 17, Dragones Estrella en 1 minuto 16. Ese Dragones Estrella va a ser el juego, de verdad, porque yo ya no veo cómo BLG va a poder aguantar. O sea, pueden seguir farmeando lo que quieran, pero igual ya lo veo muy yuca, weón. Bueno, es un dragón. No, es un dragón de montaña. Es un dragón de montaña con un dragón de agua, creo que es. No sé qué dragón es ese verde. Creo que es el dragón Quintech. Van a reiniciar. Porque van a hacer ese varón y mira la ventaja del varón. Solamente. No pueden cerrar, no pueden cerrar. No pueden cerrar, weón. Esa es la vaina. Mira la ventaja del varón. 730. Tú ves varón y usualmente hacen ventaja de 1k, 2k o algo así, pero. BLG no les deja reaccionar. O sea, no es que no les deje reaccionar, sino que no les permite cerrar. T1 quiere ser split. Tiene un 6 a un lado. Smolder el otro y Gnar el otro. Gnar puede ser split tranquilamente. Acabó. Bueno, ya regaló el Drake. Regaló el Drake literalmente. Sí. Ah, hay un problema esto. ¡Ay! ¿Dónde te pegó el Gnar? Yo flasharía el Lelk. No sé por qué no flasheó, la verdad. ¿Él no tenía flash? Él tenía flash. Él tenía flash. ¿Han hecho para mí? No. Rayos. Yo iba a llegar a 100 bits y tenía los puntos. Tenemos silver scrapes. ¿Vi no tenía flash? Él sí tenía flash, weón. ¿Y todo empezó por qué? Porque agarró mal el support. NT del Rakan. El Rakan no pensó que lo fueran a caer. Con ese ya ganó T1, ¿no? No, van los dos. Van los dos. Hay silver scrapes. O sea, juego 5. No sé, weón. Pero insisto. BLG está que propone, weón. BLG no deja de proponer. BLG no está proponiendo. BLG no está proponiendo. BLG no está proponiendo. Entonces, mientras BLG... No, perdón, BLG está proponiendo. T1 no está proponiendo nada, weón. Es lo que... Bueno, querían jugar a aguantar y no les funcionó. Ahora cuando los chinos van a jugar a lo que saben jugar, estrella la partida y no regalar el top. Y eso es preocupante. Voy al baño.
to its full effect. Steals away the Inferno Bomb. Elf has to flash it. Faker takes the tower. This is hunting season for Faker in the top lane. Elf with the volley. He pops the lock, but he will go pop first. BLG.
Ah, man. Regreso.
Brings us to a game 5, the very last game of Worlds 2024. This is the way we wanted it. This is the way it was written in the stars and it was promised. We get Silver Scrapes, we get a game 5, and we get it all between BLG and T1.
It just doesn't get any better than this. It's going to be an incredible finish to such an exciting series. It's all coming down to this one moment that will decide how people talk about you for the rest of your careers.
And I love both these teams so much. Like, they're just so fun to watch. Like, when I first saw the iteration of this T1 roster, previously T1 had this reputation for, like, they're the boring, slow team. It's like, no, this team wants to kick your teeth in. BLG always want to kick your teeth in. This is delivering. We got our game 5. It's great.
And this game, there was actually a little bit more punching back.
Finally,
it wasn't as much of a blowout. There was a top lane moment, but crucially, and I know we keep talking about it, but we have to talk about it. It's Faker. That's the difference maker again.
Yeah, and I know that people are always like, oh, they're glazing him again. Well, why would you not? And I think these replays that we're going to see, right, in just a second, it's going to be a good play to a great play to a go play.
Absolutely, and it was so funny when we were watching this. I turned across there and I said, someone on T1 needs to actually step up if they're going to win this game. Not 10 seconds later, solo kill from Faker, and it just felt like the momentum really started to swing.
And the big thing for me in this series, we talked about the early game, talked about the level 1, but an even bigger indicator of which team is doing well is which mid laner is making the impact. And in the wins, both Knight and Faker have been absolutely crucial.
They have. We said a good play, a great play, and then the go play, we saw the good one already. Well, roll the great one in the bot lane.
Yeah, this play comes on the bot side of the map. As we see this setup from Owner going with the Poppy again, something that he is also super comfortable with, and this is coming off of Zeus actually getting dove over and over again on this bot side of the map, right? And so you see BLG are gonna want to try to end up with a collapse, but then here they come, and again, this is like, we've talked a lot about Faker, this is also Zeus's redemption arc, I think. I said before, I think he's gotten the better bin overall across the series, and I thought he recovered so well in a lot of these fights.
And this is also after the topside play that ended up backfiring immensely for T1. And more importantly, it also highlights, I think, why Carrier, even though you look at this isn't the dive comp. You're playing into a lot of range, a lot of poke, but they're still able to make it work. And I think part of that was also because BLG, why are we fighting this? You have Smolder and Ziggs, you can stall until infinity, which they didn't do, but it also makes these skirmishes so insanely oppressive.
I got blamed for the glazing so much because he wasn't even in that. It wasn't that, that's a different one. Regardless, you brought up a good point though, and this is always the case when you talk about T1 in these situations, right? Although we need to respect that we know what this team looked like without Faker Shaw calling and his presence in the team, you also always need to mention all of them who can rally for moments like this. We even heard it in this tournament specifically, right? Zeus, who was calling a really important fight in the knockout rounds. We know that Carrier can do the same. We know that Owner can step up together with not Huma, he's home, Guma Yushi. So, you know, it was great to watch.
But then, we have the Faker side of this play, right?
Not for real.
You probably know it's coming. He ends up stealing the Recon ult here after BLG. You think it's over, the arrow misses, right? But here comes Faker from the side. They even see him coming, steals the Recon ult, sets up for this beautiful combination with the carry out Renata. It's just insane.
I mean, he used it perfectly. He E's forward, then he rocket belts flashes onto the next two, charms up everyone, sets up the CC, and it's those plays that are so iconic, and Faker has so many of them leading to world titles.
I mean, shades of the Azir catch on Ruler, right? In a similar situation versus an LPL team in a situation where you're up against match point Maurits. Class is forever.
And then it's also the follow-up, right? Like Owner flashing on immediately, Carrier being at the ready, and they're gonna need that as well, because in this game number 5, do not forget, because of the fact that T1 lost on red side, BLG will have the opportunity to go back to blue.
And this roster of T1, 7-7 in game 5, so they are beatable. We'll see if BLG can pull it off.
Yeah, because I'm not gonna write off BLG either. They love playing these grudge matches, these best of 5s back in the LPL. They could go forever, Emily, but this is their backs against the wall. Everything that we have set up at the beginning of the day about the pressure of all of the LPL fans, of all of the BLG fans, they are the ones that were supposed to exact their revenge on T1, and they had him, and they didn't finish it. Is it gonna come back to bite him?
I mean, they're on blue side, so I'm super curious. I want to see them go for full comfort, right? Because even though that composition that they had in the last game was good, it's like, do you really want Knight on Smolder? Even when Smolder is insane, but you want him on something with agency, you want him on something where he can control it. You see the players coming out now. That's what I want to see from BLG. Default to comfort, play your game.
Hey, you get to walk past your own name there if you're T1 from last year, Azale. Must give them some confidence.
I mean, it's engraved on the trophy. They can see it. You just have to reach out and grab it. And we'll see if T1 can pull it off on the red side. BLG earned themselves that blue side advantage by beating them on red. That is the edge that they have going into this all-important game 5.
And if you look at the games thus far, I actually think BLG have looked better. It's obviously close. The games have been really one-sided, which makes it hard. Like this punch back that we saw in topside for BLG, for example, I think spells a lot of hope. But the real question is, how are they going to be able to deal with the pressure of being in that game number 5? And I gotta say, I think it's a toss-up at this point.
It is.
All 10 players walking in look completely unfazed. Neither side seems nervous at all.
Absolutely, and that's what we want to see. And if you feel like it is building up to a crescendo, I hope so as well. We heard some of the music pieces, but one was too loud for the one orchestra and the other was too loud for the other. I want to see them synergize and fight it out till the very, very end. It is only one game that stands between us and knowing who our 2024 World Champion is. Will it be Faker with his 5th or Knight with his 1st?
It's a good question, Shox, and I don't think any of us here at the caster desk have an answer that will please you too much. However, I can promise you the 10 players in the middle of this arena, full of people in the middle of London, are ready to provide that answer. Faker rebooting, locking in, preparing himself for another Game 5 on the world stage. It has only happened 4 times in finals across the history of Worlds, and Faker has been in 3 of those. He has lost one to DRX, he has won one all the way back in, a 1-1 against Samsung Galaxy, in 2016. And now we'll see if he can win against the BLG, who are on the blue side. Varus, their first ban.
So last time that BLG were on blue side, they did the Varus, Ashe, and Skarner bans. And T1, they did their duty in doing the Aurora and Yone bans, and threw in the Nico as well, as both Knight and Faker are very good on that champion, as well as on Encaria, this flex stick. But I'm really curious, will they still ban the Nico once again?
I think it's Kalista. I think they'll take it away. I think it's proven to be too strong in this series, and I don't think they're going to allow it to go through.
Honestly, I agree with you. I think that the Kalista is the most powerful block.
But we had the same conversation where it's a question of do you trade Kalista for Jax, and then T1 couldn't find much success from the Jax pick, and BLG really made the Kalista work for them. Now they have to make the decision, the Kalista will be banned, but that does mean that in game 5, Bin is going to get his Jax. And without hesitation, he immediately locks it in.
All right, are we going to get the Zeus Gragas, the Zeus Gnar, perhaps?
I mean, you have to trust in Zeus. He's shown that his Gragas is an effective answer into the Jax. I would call it an old school counter pick, but it's the one that Zeus has been leveraging throughout this World Championship. I don't think they need to lock it in now. They could grab themselves the Vi if they wanted to, perhaps even the Renata for carrier once more. They're hovering it.
Locked in straight away. Bin lays down the gauntlet, and Zeus immediately answers. Bin has only lost 3 times on his Jax this year. Twice against T1, once against Gen G. Now we'll see if Zeus can stand in his way once again. T1 looking towards perhaps a Galio in the mid lane here for Faker. And it's going to be locked in as well, so they have a very tanky front line already. Gragas obviously has a big sustained tank, the Galio as well, which is pretty much unkillable unless you can manage to get ahead of him.
I'm honestly surprised to see the Galio locked in this early for T1, rather than securing something like the Xayah Rakan for themselves. They've chosen to go for it, maybe in anticipation of BLG potentially going for the Silas, and knowing that the Galio could be an effective answer into it. Elk gonna get himself his Kai'Sa.
Ooh, we have to think they're gonna build more on top of this dive then for BLG. Yes, some strong side laners plus some dive.
It's just comfort. BLG are just saying, how comfortable can we be?
Oh my goodness.
Jax will give Elk Kai'Sa, will give Knight Ahri. That is the epitome of what BLG like.
How many legendary player champion combos are we gonna get in a deciding Game 5 of World Finals? Knight on his Ahri, Bin on his Jax. Those very well, if they win, would be their skins.
I mean, Knight, he's world famous for his Ahri. This World Championship hasn't had the best win rate for him, but you cannot afford to underestimate it. The Xayah going to be locked in for T1. You imagine that Rakan is going to rise in priority, BLG likely looking to ban that one away.
100% agree with you there. This works too well with the T1 comp. Let's see, what will the bans towards BLG be here for T1 though, as we try and whittle down? I mean, possible jungle? Yeah, possible jungle takeaways here for Shun.
I mean, if BLG continue down their comfort route, do you just get rid of something like the Rakan as well? Obviously, T1 kind of want the Rakan themselves, so BLG will remove it. In the end, no one's getting Rakan.
I'm thinking like the Vi is just such a no-brainer pairing with the Ahri as well.
True.
But they do leave the Vi up there for Shun to take.
The Kindred ban is like, okay, we can see how much comfort you're drafting. We're not going to allow that.
Man, but Vi, I would even prefer a Vi over a Kindred if you know, if we're running Ahri, plus we have lots of dive on our side too. Renata, a no-brainer as well. Follow up to the Rakan ban there. Take away those two primo picks for Keria. Too good against dive.
I am wondering if they put Ona on something a little more oriented. I was thinking maybe Diego, but I don't love it. I feel like Vi does make the most sense. The Poppy into the Jax. In terms of damage though,
but it's so good at shutting down all of these carries that BLG are already
showing. It's also a flex pick. You can also put it into the support position so they can wait to see what BLG draft and then decide after that. Because you're 100% right, Kobe. Poppy and its ability to mitigate the dashes on the side of BLG is a very powerful pick for sure.
Ooh, it's gonna be looking towards the Jarvan. Wait here with bated breath. It's locked in. Aggression, dive from BLG.
It actually makes more sense. I was previously talking about Vi, but the Jarvan ultimate is better versus Xayah than the Vi ultimate is. So much better there. So really, really intelligent move.
Likely deferring to another one of his comfort.
Hello.
Showcasing some confidence there.
There's the realm.
Wow.
Really nice into this entire BLG lineup. The question is now,
wow.
is the Poppy going to support? Will Keria?
Oye, Alacher, ¿estás ahí? Alacher, ¿sigues ahí? Pura teamfight, sí.
My expectations are Keria is looking through his support pool right now, wondering where they go, but it seems like perhaps T1 wants to flex it.
Sí, no juega así. La anterior quisieron jugar despacio con Chicks Molder y no les salió. Ahora sí o sí les queda jugar exterior la partida. Quieren jugar exterior la partida como sea. Alacher, ¿me sigues? Alacher, ¿estás ahí? Vale. Alacher. Tira tu leche. Tira tu leche.
It's Zeus's Gragas versus Bin's Jax in the top side. Faker's Galio, a tried and true throughout his legacy versus Knight, a player
Tira tu leche.
to make his name on world history
¿Verdad?
with his signature champion. We couldn't have asked for a more exciting draft here in Game 5.
100% I agree. Already just with the draft, I think that this is the most
Payaso.
exciting game of the entire series from what we've seen. Both of them have
No, en serio, canje la leche.
those critical, important top-side fights around the gloves early on into the game.
Ya llevo los 100 bits.
Such a good combo. The Jarvan plus the Ahri, also such a good combo.
¿Así? No jodas. A ver.
Legendary Jax versus Zeus.
Solo que tiene 50.
I would say Gragas at this point, he is 23-4 on the Gragas all time. Impressive.
Ají.
To say the least.
Pero acá sale que tienes 50 bits nomás. Deja ver. Espérate. Deja ver ya, deja ver. Deja ver esa vaina. Es que me sale que tiene 50 bits, no que hayas donado 100. Pero me sale que este momento tiene 50 bits. No me sale que tenga 100. ¿Verdad? A ver.
LPL, BLG looking to hoist Summoners Cup. So much on the line, and a single game will decide it all. A standard line of scrimmage to start off the game.
¿Verdad?
My eyes on, pathing up towards the top side.
Mira mi emblema. Ah, puta, my bad. Sí. Ok. What?
For Bin versus Zeus, but it looks like we're gonna be denied.
Looks like we are. The ward goes down in defense for T1. Sweeper comes out immediately though for BLG as they move in for that lane swap.
Espectadores y nivel... Tengo 7 espectadores y nivel 100 bits. Ok. Dale, my bad. Ok. Ya, te puse. ¿Cuántas vas, weón? Vas 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Buena, man. Vas 5. Vamos. ¿Cuántas vamos? 13 latas, weón. Está bien. 13 latas. Soy literalmente Superman. Superaste la cantidad mínima, weón. Porque lo mínimo que usualmente lo mínimo que pedí mi mamá y lo que pedimos algunos es 3 latas. Y has hecho 5, weón, a la verga. Voy a cerrar el chat ya. Pero creo que el chat es lo que me está cagando también el directo. Pute, dale con el lane swap. Sí, pero no le metí eso. Pero la poppy está durísima, no sé. Ah, es una poppy support. Denso. No sé. ¿Por qué no juega Sylas el Knight? Que solamente sabe jugar Sylas. Lo banearon, ¿no? Supongo. No lo han baneado. Lo han dejado open y aún así no lo han piqueado. Ninguno piqueó Sylas. Interesante. Qué buen Bin. Mira Bin, weón. Tiene solamente 7 minions. ¡Oh! Primera sangre. Puta como en flash, weón. Oh, NT. Wow. ¿Quién metió el pulgar? Oye, ¿quién metió el pulgar? Lo metió Tsun. A la verga.
this bot wave, it is very awkward. Slowly pushing towards the bot lane of T1. They're going to require Jun to shadow in the lane to help them get that push out.
Exactly, he has to come all the way down here.
Hay un problema. Gumayusi tiene ventaja de oro. 9 minions. Porque se le ha estrellado toda la línea a Guma. Qué pendejo. Y lo tiró 2 veces, weón, como para asegurar. ¿Qué? Hay un detalle acá. Puta vida. Lo que... Se pinta con cólera, weón. ¡Oh! Puta, casi latina el charm. Yo haría Drake, man. Van a frisear. Sí, ¿no? Anda, sí, se fue. Ah, la mierda, van. 8.5, 3.5. A pesar que hicieron primera sangre, no hay ventaja de oro. Y es porque tanto el... Es porque, bueno, el Jarvan está muy atrás en farm. Está demasiado atrás en farm. El Jats. No, el Jats, Jarvan. Él recién se ha puesto las pilas en farm. Y otra vez han hecho lane swap. Ah, su madre. ¡TP! Ah, quieren los grubs. ¡Ay! ¿Qué fue eso? Oh, what the fuck? What? ¿Qué fue esa ulti de Rel? Ah, no fue ulti, fue solamente W. Que Vino tiene TP, ¿va? No puede resalir tranquilamente. No tiene TP.
He's the one who got it, and the grub secured, T1 with the early game lead secured. The reason we're so focused on that is because you can balloon these gold leads so quickly, but Faker under attack!
Does have the flash, will punch forward, just as one's coming out on.
No la van a matar. Tiene flash, man. ¡Ay! No la van a matar. No sé, yo apenas vi al Jets tocadísimo, yo hubiese tradeado dragón, la verdad. Aunque se entiende, es un dragón de viento. 1.4k de oro. Este ya es juego de Team One, definitivamente. Tienes una Sai en contra. La botlane está afectada. La botlane no hay botlane ahorita. Esa ventaja le saca 40 minions el Gumayusi a Elk. Él le está sacando, Gumayusi le está sacando 40 minions, no le dejó jugar. No farmeó nada. No farmeó nada, literalmente el Elk. No farmeó nada. 40 minions. Gumayusi le saca 40 minions, le saca 2 levels. O sea, flaco. Gumayusi se lo ha comido. Bueno, el macro de T1 se lo ha comido feo a lo de BLG en esta partida. Muy greedy, pero funciona, porque no hay daño.
just playing bot. He is just finding those angles for Poppy to connect into the wall.
2K de oro. Con una kill de diferencia y eso que BLG tuvo primera sangre.
They'll secure the first dragon of the game.
And it is a very tall task here for BLG to get Elk back into this game. Daya is so weak early on and being denied so much early into this game. It's going to be very hard for BLG.
Bien, Elk, weón. Bien está chill. El problema es Elk, weón. Elk tiene 34 minions atrás y tienes un K de oro.
You're going to have to look before Elk is really a danger.
Knight felt the pressure of this position last year on JDG in the semifinals. It was T1.
El problema es Elk, weón.
The Golden Road. Hoping to get revenge. He is one of the players that we will be keeping our eyes on as this game continues. His Ari has been able.
El problema es Elk, weón. Ahora Elk otra vez. Transponiendo, están transponiendo. Pueden forzar. Mierda, van a forzar. La red no aguanta nada. ¡Oh! ¡Sobrevivió! No me jodas. Placas. Ahora las placas es la vaina. Pero igual, son 2K de oro, weón. Son 2K de oro, weón. Es demasiada diferencia de oro para el minuto 11.
Looking back at the grubs, they want to get at least 4 for their Void Might spawn, despite a really good play there from BLG.
2K de oro, igual la diferencia de 2K de oro es demasiada, diría yo. Y es que claro, abajo tumbaron la primera torre.
The idea of shutting Gumayushi down is so important because of how much of a threat he is. Bin gets a nice flash, 2-person stun off, and they give the initial kill over to Knight. On's then able to disengage while Gumayushi does get away. Knight's able to secure the second kill as well.
Claro, eso también, o era las placas de arriba o eso era los crops.
So much pressure on the shoulders of these BLG players, and now even more so onto that of Knight, a player that is so well renowned in the LPL here, really looking to take that last step and acquire
Total goal,
his first
Knight.
world championship. He is the richest player in the game on Ari, such a playmaker. Can he do it?
That's the question that everyone asks themselves in moments like this as well. For BLG, it would be the first time they have won a world championship. For T1, it would be their 5th. Faker so often leads the charge. Now it's Knight who has to take the charge into his own hands, carrying it with the sun into the wall. The TP coming in behind as T1 begin to draw out their battle.
Uh-oh.
Faker looking for that flank.
Ok, no.
BLG disengaged.
Pensé que era gradas.
T1 can't quite find the fight that they were looking for right now.
Faker doesn't quite realize he's sitting on a ward, but chooses not to overcome into the play. TP's in ready for the action to kick off, but nothing too chaotic just yet. They look 15 until the next
Dios,
round
man.
spawns. The bot lane has been completely
2K de oro todavía hay diferencia. 2K de oro, 2K de oro, 2K de oro. Recuerdan, son 2K de oro de diferencia. Es un objeto. ¿Van a forzar un dive? No creo.
Galio ult is available here. Remember, for Faker, you have to be careful as BLG. T1 have that safety net.
Wave clear from Knight though, coming through. The Malignance completed and level 9. The Q
7-6. Un K de oro, la diferencia entre los AD carry, joder. Con Mayusi sí. Ok, con Mayusi Rache no, weón. Porque también son 50 minions, pero le saca 40 minions a la pobre Kais, al Elk. Es demasiado. Es demasiado. Y BLG, el problema es que BLG no pudo hacerlo de ellos. Pero es que no pudo hacerlo de ellos en el sentido de que no pudieron jugar a lo suyo, que es estrellar la partida. Parecía una partida estrellar la partida, pero T1 se defendió bien. Y la diferencia de las placas son 5 contra 4.
actually lock the Xayah down. The flash is about to come off cooldown for Gumayushi. Both neutral objectives are alive. It's T1 that set their sights on the
Yo haría Drake aquí, sinceramente. ¿Qué Drake es? Es un dragón infernal. Yo lo haría. Yo haría Drake infernal, sinceramente. Yo regalé el heraldo. Si Vélez que quiere hacer algo, tiene que entregar el heraldo. Pero están demorando. No, lo han regalado. No contestan el dragón. Ah, sí lo van a hacer. Ok, lo están haciendo. Heraldo contra... ¿Contra dónde fue? Que no lo hace todavía. Ojo, no lo hace. TP para salvar la torre. Dios, man, 2k de oro. 2k de oro. Team 1 lo puede ganar esto, pero puta. Son 2k de oro.
Influx of gold from one of those side lane secondary turrets to try and stop that snowball that has been so prevalent. Allows them to push right back out here for
600 de oro.
as well as Elk take care of the wave in mid 2, some critical income for them.
One of the things we were very excited about coming into this game was Bid versus Zeus, but Tier 1 have actually put Gumayushi versus Zeus for the vast majority of this game. And remember that given that Elk has been so far behind, into the Galio, always playing.
Están cerrando el gap, 1.4. Ende será 2. Ah, pero claro, porque están farmeando ahorita. Bien recién termina la Trinidad. Mierda. ¿Otra vez van a forzar abajo? Van a traer de arriba. Ya, ¿qué va a hacer Bing? No puede hacer nada. Y Jerry todavía no llega a la torre. Otra diferencia de .5. Un K de oro para el Kai'Sa. Y eso que el Grass con 2 asistencias, sin nada, tiene más oro que el Jazz. Claro, también es porque el Jazz bueno, son las 5 placas, ¿vale? Esa diferencia de oro son las 5 placas. Son casi las 5 placas de... que se hizo Team 1.
BLG quite happy to play this game slowly for now. They're not in any real risk. The Baron is still 2.5 minutes away.
Pero es que no quiere estrellar la partida. Me sorprende eso. Pero está bien, no pueden estrellar la partida. Saben, son conscientes que tengan una kill de más, la situación es muy tensa. Entonces no pueden jugar a estrellar la partida.
Pulling the wave across a little bit here, but with the counter strike, he will just start to push this one towards T1 again with 2 minutes on the Baron and 2 minutes on the Cloud Drake. Expectation is everything will calm down over these next 2 minutes.
Jazz con agónico. Wow, pensé que Jazz Bean está yendo tranquilo con el agónico. Pensé que iría conquistador. Uy, Larel está muerta. ¿No? Ah, ya no se fue, ¿no? Era de glorieta. Ahí va otros .5k de oro. No.
Min does have a tower in that top lane that he can start to pressure towards. You can see Zeus working his way up towards that, but I think Bin with enough time should be able to just chunk that tower down. It will be BLG's second of the game. Zeus there to respond. Should passing towards top as well.
Que no van a pelear, pero ¿por qué van a pelear así?
It's this game of this ebb and flow where Faker pushes out bot, he then goes into the bot war. Knight has to answer, so BLG realize, well, we can't force a play because Faker's always going to be able to respond first. Knight answers the bottom side, then TP's back.
¿Qué te fue más raro, sinceramente?
To put a bit of pressure back down onto the map.
I mean, Faker recognized the TP came out of mid, immediately pings back towards bot, wants to push out another wave.
Exacto. ¿Cómo respondes a un TP? Pusheando. La pregunta es qué va a jugar, qué van a hacer ahora. Van a seguir jugando despacio, van a apostar un objetivo, van a apostar el dragón, van a apostar el varón. El dragón es uno de viento, así que no sabría decir cuál es más favorable. ¿Te imaginas el Kareye forzado ahí?
T1's obvious play next should be towards the dragon. They've set up good vision towards it, and Knight knows that he doesn't have TP and he's on the top side of the map. They will spot out Faker as Bin and Zeus go back and forth on the trades, but you're seeing how effective this Gragas is.
Cosmic Drive Fimblewood doing a lot of work here. They get the knockback as well. Carrier with the surplus presence position is here to try and help out his top laner. That Fimblewood and Cosmic Drive combination is causing a lot of headache for Bin.
Van a regalar Drake. Sí, van a regalar Drake. Es un dragón de montaña. No se van a jugar con un dragón de montaña. No se van a jugar con un dragón de montaña los del BG.
Ultimately, yeah, I think it's the best trade for them rather than try and force the fight around the dragon at this point in the game. Especially when you know that Elk still hasn't even
¿Cómo se ve el EG para cerrar la diferencia de oro? Es un K de oro, hace un rato estaba en 2.
Elk just finishes his Ginsus as you say that statement, Benny. There's 2 items on the Kai'Sa that she scales up so well as the game goes on. And they get towards the
que mientras no tome la torre de mid. Puta, qué tan crucial es esta torre de mid, weón. Qué tan crucial son las 2 torres de mid, porque los dos equipos tienen las torres de mid ahí abiertas todavía. Nos iremos a una partida de 30 minutos, porque nadie está haciendo nada. Que no pueden proponer, weón. Es quinto juego, si tú propones y sale mal, se va al carajo todo. La torre de mid, weón. Es clave las 2 torres de mid. Nadie puede romperlas. ¿Cómo las defienden a muerte los dos equipos?
Short a couple of times in the past for T1. Obviously, they were here last year. They've been here 3 years in a row. Weren't able to win it in 2022. In 23, they dominated Weibo. They dominated the LPL. Managed to take down 4 teams in that year, and now 3 teams in that year. Now, alongside that top esports, looking to add BLG as a name to that list, but BLG have not lost the best of 5 versus T1. They just haven't played them at Worlds before, and here we sit 23 minutes in on a knife edge between these 2 titans.
Reminder how close BLG was without Knight. The whole idea behind bringing Knight to this roster was to help push them over the edge, to give them that last bit of power needed to get them to where they are today. They've ultimately built this roster to get to this point against, as Azael said on the desk, possibly the greatest roster that the league has ever seen in history.
Man, la diferencia de oro. Esa diferencia de oro. Ahora es menos de un K. Dios.
Legends already with making 3 world finals in a row, looking to win 2 back-to-back.
Esa diferencia de oro no es menos de un K. Dios, qué estrés.
Galio on the top side. Mid lane waves traded back and forth as we just build and build to this crescendo of pressure in our final game of the year.
It's crazy that it's all come down to this.
Man, qué estrés, weón. Qué estrés.
Secure that second item ahead of this crucial fight. That would be absolutely huge. Both now fighting for vision. Resets come through for Zeus. He's making his way back out onto the map. Has the arm guard, a crucial pickup, providing a little bit more durability and just time
wasting potential in the upcoming team fight. Dragon a minute away. We get ever closer to that crucial objective. Also for Knight.
Ah, weón.
Pushed in. Elk not yet completed that Nash's Tooth, meaning not quite at the point of that consistent poke that we often see from the Kai'Sa.
He's almost there. Has the blasting wand, has an Amtome as well. Gumayushi on the other side, sitting on a Zeal alongside his IE in the Essence Reaver.
Dios, qué partido tan estresante, weón.
It feels like one of those games where
Mira, la diferencia de oro, weón, es menos de un... Es menos de 0.5, es menos de 500 de oro la diferencia. Puta, si BLG no hubiese jugado a lo subnormal, tranquilamente le ganarían despacio. Es lo que más me sorprende de todo esto es que BLG está cortando la diferencia de oro de esa manera tan drástica.
The first step before T1 can go take this dragon is they have to secure vision on the Baron. Because of the Rage Blade being completed for Kai'Sa, you can actually burn through Barons and neutral objectives very quickly. And so that's why we just saw these last like 30 seconds, 40 seconds of T1 really trying to make sure that they will have an early alert system if BLG try and do a cross-map play on them.
Then taking over to level 15, Zeus sticking around very deep in the bot lane because he's got full information as to where all 4 of the members of BLG are. Poke back and forth over the control wards.
Volvemos hablando, weón. Esa vuelta es un Aram, weón, que la concha de su madre. Tremendo Aram se está mandando aquí.
And T1 immediately fight back. They reclaim control over that space. Control ward still sitting in the inventory of Carrier, but crucially, none left for BLG. I'm sure On would love to get a quick reset off, but I don't know if he's going to be given the time to do so. Ping's coming down from the side of T1 of the bot side jungle.
Zeus finds on Shadow Strike going in, the crash down as well. Pin looking for the follow-up here onto Zeus. The hero's entrance and On just over the steps. Gumayushi
Grande On.
sends it back to the fountain, and now BLG have to play a 4v5 if they want to try and contest. I think their decision will be not to. They'll just back away, clear out their own jungle, but On went in on Zeus and T1 immediately collapsed.
Again, T1, they're so confident and we're like they've got the Galio ult to back them up. Zeus is very tanky. They were not worried for a second during that pick. On definitely bit off way more than he could chew, and that is a 100% sacrifice of the dragon, of the objective. Critically, it is just putting T1 to that soul point, not breaking the game quite yet.
Sí, On forzando en el Gragas como que no fue muy buena idea.
To believe that T1 are very confident in their team fight and their strong setup here.
I mean, why wouldn't you with how strong Gumayushi is?
And so that's why maybe you see BLG wanting to rush into some picks whenever they see anyone, because they do kind of feel that unspoken mounting pressure facing them.
You can feel as well, just kind of on the
Cayó la torre de mid. Ese es un problema.
Slowly but surely beginning to gain more control. BLG feels like that they're being pushed back even further onto their side of the map. And T1 remaining calm. This game is far from over just yet. That deciding fight is yet to happen. All summoner spells are available for everyone on the Rift, TPs included. The next round is still a ways away from T1 secure.
Es arreglo, weón.
From BLG, the Baron becomes
Toda la importancia del pobrecito del On. Habló la nada duro. Zeus, a la mierda.
A big fight now to break open the entire series and determine the world champions.
It's just absurd for the players down there as well. That weight on your shoulders.
I'm nervous and I'm not even playing.
It's just more
¿Qué? Espera, asústale el... Ah, asústale el 16. My bad. Vi mal.
Pressure on you, Shadow and Strike going wide. Should try to dash across the wall, but immediately he's locked up, goes in with the catapult. Gumayushi pops the Feather Storm. Open up the re-engage onto On, shut down to half HP. Bin gets onto the back line, Gumayushi fences.
Puta. La hizo el Jets.
BLG find 2, T1 able to back away for the moment, but the TP behind by Bin as he looks for a little bit more. Oh, they go back in. Baker flashes in, and down goes Knight. Once again, when you need someone, when you need anyone to stand up and show
Alon lo están funando seguramente. No echa nada de correr en esa partida, literalmente Alon.
BLG had started out so well, they killed Gumayushi. They had them on the run, but the turn from T1 was better.
The flank that comes in from Bin to follow up the engagement.
Bueno, ¿cómo ese Gragas aguanta tanto? ¿Cómo Gragas aguanta tanto? Y eso que Gragas está yendo full daño. Me sorprende lo mucho que aguanta Gragas.
So look, the ultimate comes in from Shun onto Gumayushi. He's gonna ulti because he has no choice. He has to in this situation. And the charm from Knight there forces the flash from Gumayushi. Bin sees the angle, so he flashes, sidesteps the knockback, and he's able to work with Elk to get the kill. And at this point, you think the fight is over.
Exactly. Then they're on the chase. Knight goes. He just barely doesn't have the range on his charm onto Owner, and they're teleporting for the pincer. But just as they're teleporting, and Bin has to walk back to the fight, that's when T1 turned.
Such fantastic play and such confidence. The TP, the awareness from T1 to realize that TP was a mistake and then to create the collapse, to turn it in their favor. Unbelievable turnaround from T1.
Teleport.
Wow.
4-second channel time and T1 strike. Wait a second, topside, Zam's under fire.
Zam's caught out, killer instinct in by LBOG, collapsing 4 members strong, the heroes entry.
Oh, Samus!
Oi!
Elko with the stopwatch, Faker in the middle of them all, and it seems like death may have arrived, and his name is Faker. He's here, but you're alive. So the rest of T1 begin his collapse. Faker's gonna fall as he blows the stopwatch, manages to buy himself a second. Over here to save his midlaner once again, and Faker still stands. He has ascended. He stands above.
Bueno, esto es juego. Esto es juego. Esto es juego. Entre esto es juego. Esto es juego.
I mean, with the Baron buff, 4 members dead. It's only Knight left to defend his base. His crumbling kingdom at the hands of T1. And then
Esto es juego. Esto es juego. Esto es juego.
Knight goes in with the spear rush, lands the charm as well. The first Nexus tower is falling, and T1 are just looking for the prize. They're hungry for it. T1 are the past, the present, and the future. A new era, the same empire. T1 are your
Wow.
world champions.
Solo eso anime. La Tijuaneta. Quinto juego, weón. Ah, la mierda. ¡Yeah! ¡Está Rekkless! ¡Está Rekkless, weón! La quinta es por Rekkless, weón. La quinta es por Rekkless, weón. La quinta es por Rekkless. La quinta es por Rekkless. La quinta es por Rekkless, weón.
He is the GOAT for a reason. And this will be his 5th World Championship title. We are witnessing such a legendary resurgence from T1. A new era for T1 and an incredible performance.
Please keep that roster together again. That right there is a new T1 dynasty. Heartbreaking for BLG to be so close.
In the end, Faker said it best, you gotta prove it. That's when you play, when you face T1, when you face the best in
They need Rekkless.
champs, you gotta prove it. And today it was T1 that proved it. You know, trophy ceremony presented by Mercedes-Benz. They will hoist the Summoners Cup. I can't think of 5 players that deserve it more.
No es mejor ver para LA. No. Le vamos a estar editando y leo Beto.
Not even qualifying to the World Championship, to making it all the way to the final. A full 5-game banger. They will lift the Summoners Cup once more.
Oh, those steps must feel so sweet. A 5-game banger, as you say, Betty. T1 take to the main stage, and they deserve every accolade that is bandied towards them. It's back-to-back
Rekkless MVP.
Baker said, "This one's for you."
I think it's a little bit for them as well.
A little bit. Just unbelievable. Truly unbelievable.
La quinta es para Rekkless.
T1 have done it once again. BOG were an incredible rival and opponent, and they pushed them to the very brink. But what a performance. T1's 5th World Championship,
Gracias, nunca pierden.
and they will raise that cup once more.
Zeus, Owner, Faker, Gumayushi, Carrier. Remember the names, legends, all of them.
La quinta es por Rekkless, weón. La quinta es por Rekkless, weón. La quinta es por Rekkless. Pero eso no vi. Eso no vi. Quiero ver una cosa. Quiero ver una cosa. Es cierto, yo vi que un TP se canceló. Yo pensé que era. Pero mi hermano acaba de decir que el TP que se canceló era de Knight. Yo pensé que era de T1. ¿Qué pasó en ese TP? Hubo un TP que se canceló. Oh. 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 Así que eso fue lo que pasó. Mira esto. Mira abajo a la derecha. Ahí bien falló el stun también. Salió volando. Ya me decía, weón, ¿qué pasó ahí? Quería, weón. Mi hermano me pasó el dato, yo no me di cuenta. Yo no me di cuenta. Mi hermano ahorita me escribió por WhatsApp y me avisó de que Keria ganó eso. Y dije, ¿pero por qué? Y... Es que claro, pero acá era para que estara, si acá estaba la si acá llegaba la R, si acá llegaba la R, se morían los, sí o sí se morían ellos. Si estaba la R, bueno, no sé si morían todos, pero porque el carry se murió. Put retemprano el stream. Pero también Zeus lo hizo bien. Ahí también Zeus lo hizo bien. También Zeus. También Zeus. Y ahí la Kaisa se durmió. Si la Kaisa acá metía cleans reloj, ¿qué tenía? Si aquí la Kaisa metía cleans reloj, no le caía el barril. Nunca tiró cleans. Nunca tiró cleans. Nunca tiró cleans. Insisto, no me gusta ese Jats. Yo creo que ese Jats lo jugaba con Keller también. Yo creo que sí lo hacía. No sé por qué jugó con Grasp. Pero supongo que fue Grasp también porque... Esto que es acá. Pero Keria la hizo abajo. Keria lo hizo abajo. Le canceló el TP. Le canceló el TP, weón. Nice se desesperó mucho acá. Puta, la funda que le va a caer el support de BLG es enorme. La funda que le va a caer a Pero fe que me cerró la boca. Porque a mí no me gusta el pick de Galio. A mí no me ese combo de hincho Galio no me gustó en el segundo juego. Pero acá Timo lo supo hacer bien. Me cerraron la boca. A mí no me gusta ese combo. Pero acá sí lo hicieron muy bien, así que no hice nada. Fe que abrí la boca y me chupo el pi. Ya.
I also want to take a moment to thank the city of London for being such gracious host to us. Yeah.
El pata está mirando como si le estuviesen apuntando con una pistola. Oh, what the
This event unforgettable. And of course, a huge thanks to all of the fans who joined us here in person, as well as everyone watching from around the world.
Amigo, parpadea si te están apuntando, tranquilo, weón. No tienes que mirar la cámara así. Ya, la hizo bien T1, la verdad. Resumen, Keria ganó esto. Wow.
League of Legends executive producer Paul Beleza and Riot Games CEO Dylan Jahada to share their congratulations as well. GG to your world champions, T1.
Es que los eventos del LoL se nota que es por la plata, por eso. What? He sold his forfeit and Death Stars blank. Bro, reading the mouth. Of course he doesn't blink, he has blue eyes. No sé. El pata está... Por eso de la cara de que la apuntan. Ya, voy a cerrar el directo. Voy a cerrar el directo porque tengo que hacer unas cosas en la casa. De paso voy a servir mi almuerzo también. Pero han sido 4 horas. Estuve entrete, weón. Qué infartante, la verdad. Qué infartante. ¿Sí o no, Latzer? Estoy infartante esta huevada. Pero en el quinto juego... Yo digo, en el quinto juego le faltó eso a BLG. BLG, el quinto juego, no jugó a estrellarlo. Jugaron muy despacio. Pero claro, el quinto juego, cuando es quinto juego... Se entiende, la verdad, se entiende. Pero igual, T1 castigó bien y bueno, Keria hizo magia. Insisto, ¿por qué Gragas aguanta tanto, weón? ¿Cómo se aguantó tanto si está yendo full AP? Gragas está yendo full AP, yo no sé si aguanta un chingo. Me sorprende eso. El Gragas full AP no debería aguantar tanto. Mucho menos de un Jats full AD. Pero bueno. Toma, weón. El trago hace que aumente, creo. Claro, el trago hace que aumente su resistencia, pero por un segundo y pico. No debería aguantar tanto igual.
From
congratulations, and once again we saw how you react to these big moments, be it in the moments where you can't grind out the victory and in the moments where you can. Can you look back on these last 3 years and what you've done with this T1 roster and tell me about
Voy a dejar el video hasta acá. Tengo que cambiarme. Voy a limpiar el baño también en la casa y voy a preparar mi almuerzo. Para más tarde, mira, si arman Don't Starve Together, capaz haga stream Don't Starve Together, pero si no, ya en la noche abriré Genshin a las 8 o 9 de la noche. Abriré Genshin Impact. Terminaré el cumpleaños de Naida, que me quedé en el último acto, los minijuegos también. Porque tengo entendido que hoy no van a jugar Don't Starve Together, entonces eso. Voy a arreglarme, porque tengo que arreglarme, y nada. Alacher, gracias por estar acá, son casi 4 horas, man. Son 4 horas de dolores de cabeza y 4 horas de infarto, man. La verdad. Yo quería que gane Team One, sinceramente, por Rekkless más que nada, solamente por Rekkless. Solamente quería que gane Team One por Rekkless, siendo sinceros. Y BLG porque me gusta más el estilo de juego de la LPL, que es estrellar la partida. Pero ambos equipos han jugado muy bien. Excepto la cuarta partida, que literalmente BLG jugó una composición que no me gustó para nada. Y eso, pero ha sido una buena run, la verdad, de parte de ellos, la verdad. Ha sido un muy buen partido. Y nada, gracias a Latas. Gracias por las leches. Vamos. ¿Cuántos vamos? Vamos 13 latas. Vamos 13 latas de leche. Pincha, Latzer, me vas a dejar pobre. Pero ¿cuántos vas tú? 4 o 5. Ah, su madre. Ya. Bueno. Un gusto. Buenas noches. Buenas noches, buenos días.